Chapter 26:10. If it was really an immortal pill, its value would be too great. It might even be able to raise his cultivation by several levels. After so many years, Lin Feng had heard of many miraculous uses of immortal pills. However, he had never eaten an immortal pill before. He held the pill in his hand and observed it. He found that there were waves of runes lingering on the pill, which shocked him. Could a pill show runes? This pill's grade was really high. Lin Feng took the pill out of his storage ring. The pill immediately tried to escape. The pill has gained sentience? He was shocked. With a wave of his hand, he immediately suppressed the medicinal pill. Is this an immortal pill? Lin Feng transmitted his voice to the demon lord. This was Lin Feng's first time seeing such a high-grade pill. He could feel the powerful energy contained within the pill. That energy, surging with power. It's not a true immortal pill, but it should be a pseudo-immortal pill, the demon lord said. In the past, as one of the big shots of the undying realm, the demon lord had seen and even consumed true immortal pills. Therefore, he could determine the grade of this immortal pill. Too bad it's not an immortal pill, Lin Feng said. The demon lord said, "You're wrong. Immortal pills are too extraordinary. With your cultivation, if you get a true immortal pill, you might not be able to subdue it. You might even let it escape. Even if you can subdue it, you won't be able to refine it. This pseudo-immortal pill is the best. You can suppress it and refine it." Hearing the demon lord's words, Lin Feng became happy again. He said, "If I refine such an immortal pill, I wonder how many levels I can raise?" Lin Feng's current cultivation was at the peak of the 5th celestial stage. Naturally, he wanted to raise his cultivation as soon as possible. However, Lin Feng's savings were too great. Therefore, it was very difficult for him to raise his cultivation. But this quasi-immortal pill let Lin Feng see hope. Lin Feng swallowed the quasi-immortal pill and began to refine it. A powerful medicinal effect began to surge within his body. The powerful medicinal effects of the subimmortal pill were completely devoured by Lin Feng, transforming into the purest form of energy that flowed through his limbs and bones before being absorbed by his body. Lin Feng's magic power began to transform. The magic power in his body became purer and purer. Moreover, his magic power was also becoming more and more majestic. Finally, Lin Feng's cultivation realm broke through from the 5th heavenly layer to the 6th heavenly layer. After breaking through, his body still contained a large amount of subimmortal pill medicinal effects that had not been refined by his body. Lin Feng continued to refine the medicinal power of the quasi-immortal pill in his body. As expected of a quasi-immortal pill, its effects were truly too heaven-defying. The powerful medicinal power continued to be absorbed by Lin Feng's body. Lin Feng's magic power was still constantly transforming. His magic power was also constantly increasing. Rumble. A series of loud sounds came from his body, like a surging river that swept through heaven and earth. His cultivation had once again completed a breakthrough. He had broken through from the 6th heavenly layer to the 7th heavenly layer. Lin Feng felt an unprecedented amount of magic power surging within his body. This feeling was simply too great. After breaking through 2 levels in a row, the medicinal power of the quasi-immortal pill was also exhausted. Lin Feng opened his eyes. He was pleasantly surprised to sense the powerful strength in his body after breaking through. "I didn't expect this quasi-immortal pill to be so effective. It allowed me to break through 2 levels in a row." Lin Feng's lips curled into a smile. The demon lord said, "This quasi-immortal pill is very precious. This time, killing Long Qinya and snatching this quasi-immortal pill can be considered a great opportunity." Lin Feng said, "I guess that there are strong and weak among the heaven-defying geniuses of the myriad races. This Long Qinya should be a weaker heaven-defying genius." "That's right." The demon lord nodded. He agreed with Lin Feng's point of view. The demon lord continued, "Do you still remember that Gongzong Ye?" Lin Feng nodded. "Of course I do. What about him?" The demon lord said, "This Gongzong Ye is a peerless and terrifying figure." "Oh? A peerless and terrifying figure? I feel like he's only at Long Chenya's level." Lin Feng said. Gongzong Ye was Gongzi Yu's elder half-brother, but Lin Feng hated him to the core. His arrogant attitude was extremely detestable. Moreover, Gongzi Yu and Gong Zhongye seemed to have a personal grudge. Lin Feng guessed that Gongzi Yu had been ostracized and even hunted down by his clan back then. Perhaps this had something to do with Gong Zhongye. This Gong Zhongye has hidden himself very deeply. He looks arrogant on the outside, but inside, he's a cautious, callous, and heartless person, the Demon Lord said. For the Demon Lord to mention Gong Zhongye, it could be seen how outstanding he was. Lin Feng carefully recalled everything about Gong Zhongye and found that he was indeed a person who had hidden himself very deeply. I hope Gongzi Yu won't suffer too much. Lin Feng frowned. He was worried about Gongzi Yu, afraid that Gongzi Yu wouldn't be able to deal with this Gongzi Yu. Dragon Turtle Mountain. This was an extremely dangerous place in the southern celestial devil realm. Gongzi Yu had obtained an opportunity from Dragon Turtle Mountain and obtained an immortal herb. Immortal herbs were extremely rare and precious. They could be used to refine immortal pills. Of course, refining immortal pills was very difficult, so most of the time, even if one obtained an immortal herb, they could only refine a quasi-immortal pill. The quasi-immortal pill's effects were naturally very good. Lin Feng had just refined a quasi-immortal pill and raised his cultivation by 2 realms. Lin Feng's savings were so huge, but he was still able to raise his cultivation by 2 realms. If it was someone else, the increase would be even greater. After Gongzi Yu came out of Dragon Turtle Mountain, he was planning to leave. At this time, a man walked out of the forest step by step. My good little brother, it seems like your harvest is not bad. The man who walked out was none other than Gong Zhongye. After seeing Gong Zhongye, Gongzi Yu's face suddenly sank. His eyes flashed with hatred that was engraved in his heart. My good little brother, what's with that look? I am your elder brother. Do you hate your elder brother so much? When you were expelled, your elder brother even spoke up for you. Gong Zhongye said with a smile. My mother was killed by you, Gongzi Yu said with gritted teeth. Chapter 26:11. Gongzi Yu's childhood was very unfortunate because his mother was a slave. She was of lowly status. She was in charge of his father's daily life. A slave like her didn't even have the right to sleep with him. At the time, Gongzi Yu's father wasn't the Sky Demon Emperor and hadn't grown into such a powerful existence. Once, Gongzi Yu's father got drunk. He then had a one-night stand with Gongzi Yu's mother. That was how Gongzi Yu came into existence. The Sky Demon race had originally discussed whether or not to give birth to Gongzi Yu because the Sky Demon race placed great importance on bloodlines and were extremely arrogant. The offspring of a female slave's pregnancy was viewed as a great humiliation by many Sky Devil race elders. That was why Gongzi Yu's fate was destined to be bumpy before he was born. It was said that the Sky Demon race wanted to kill Gongzi Yu's mother and the unborn Gongzi Yu together. However, no one would have thought that when the Sky Fiend race wanted to kill the mother and son, there would be a natural anomaly with the appearance of a Devil Lotus. The Magic Lotus was the Sky Demon race's sacred artifact. The Magic Lotus had 9 the Magic Lotus in the world, and many of them had been lost. The Sky Demon race also seemed to only have 3 the Magic Lotus. The Magic Lotus that suddenly appeared was protecting Gongzi Yu. Gongzi Yu's father stepped in to protect Gongzi Yu and his mother. After Gongzi Yu was born, he was given to one of Gongzi Yu's concubines to raise. Gongzi Yu's mother was confined in a courtyard and could only see Gongzi Yu once a year. Gongzi Yu had been protected by the demon race's sacred artifact, the Magic Lotus, since he was young. His talent was also astonishing. In addition, his mother was a slave. So many people had their eyes on Gongzi Yu. It was very common for disciples of the same clan to kill each other, not to mention the royal families of some empires killing each other. There were even cases of people killing their own fathers and brothers. In this world, many people only value benefits and despise feelings, including family, friendship, love, etc. There were several times when Gongzi Yu almost died in accidents. Fortunately, he had the Magic Lotus to protect him. Gongzi Yu was lucky enough to escape the calamity and survive in the end. That year, Gongzi Yu was 6 years old. He missed his mother very much. So, he sneaked into the courtyard where his mother was confined. When the mother and son met, they were naturally overjoyed. However, Not long after Gongziyu saw his mother, Gongziyu, who was only 10 years old, came to Gongziyu's mother's courtyard. Hide. Don't show yourself, Gongziyu's mother said and hid Gongziyu in the cupboard. Although Gongziyu was young, he was very mature. Moreover, he was vicious and merciless. When Gongziyu was 6 years old, he slaughtered dragons. When he was 8 years old, he slaughtered over 100 million people for the sake of cultivating demonic arts. From this, one could see how terrifying Gongziyu was. No one dared to look down on Gongziyu, even if he was only 10 years old. You are the disgrace of our bloodline. If you don't die, our bloodline will be ridiculed. Lord Father didn't kill you because of that bastard Gongziyu. That's because Lord Father is too benevolent. I can't let a lowly slave like you live. Gongziyu's voice was ice-cold. His hands were already stained with the blood of countless people. Naturally, he didn't mind killing one more. Although Gongziyu's mother also had some cultivation, she couldn't compare to Gongziyu. After Gongziyu subdued Gongziyu's mother, he used a rope to strangle Gongziyu's mother's neck. I'll kill you first, then I'll kill that bastard Gongziyu. The magic lotus will be mine at that time. A sinister expression appeared on Gongziyu's young face. His strength grew stronger and stronger. Gongziyu, who was hiding in the cupboard, wanted to rush out and save his mother. But at this time, Gongziyu's mother turned to look at the cupboard. Her eyes were filled with pleading. She prayed that her son wouldn't come out no matter what. Once he did, both mother and son would die here. No one knew how much pain and torment Gongziyu, who was only 6 years old at the time, went through in his heart. He watched as his mother was strangled to death in front of him, but he was powerless. Gongziyu wanted to rush out and fight Gongziyu to the death, but in the end, he restrained himself. The seed of hatred sprouted in his heart. Gongziyu told himself that he had to survive. Gongziyu swore in his heart. He had to kill Gongziyu and avenge his mother. From then on, Gongziyu endured humiliation and worked hard to cultivate. His talent was very strong, and among the younger generation, he gradually showed a heaven-defying side. Gongziyu and Gongziyu's father also obtained a great opportunity and became a great emperor-level existence. Ever since their father became a great emperor-level existence, their lives seem to have changed a lot. Nurturing the imperial son is very important. One of the supreme elders said, "Do we have to restart the imperial son nurturing plan?" Another grand elder frowned. "Of course, we have to do this. Perhaps in the future, the heavenly demon clan will have 2 great emperors," said the grand elder. The imperial son was very cruel. It was to place all the top geniuses of the heavenly demon clan's younger generation on an alien planet and let them kill each other. The one who survived in the end would be the imperial son. He would be nurtured as a successor. The heavenly demon clan used such a bloody method to nurture their descendants. They firmly believed that this method could produce the strongest successor. Many great emperors of the heavenly demon clan were the last to survive the imperial son nurturing plan. Gongziyu's father had also survived this way. The heavenly demon great emperor had a total of 13 sons, including Gongziyu and Gongziyu. All of them had participated. Gongziyu saw the bloodiest scene in the imperial son nurturing plan this time. Many people of the same race had died tragically. He also saw his elder brothers killing each other. When both sides were injured, they were killed by the other. Heavenly demons were merciless. Perhaps it was because only half of Gongziyu's blood was heavenly demon blood, while the other half came from his mother, a very ordinary cosmic race. Thus, with only half of it, Gongziyu couldn't be so merciless. In the end, only Gongziyu and Gongziyu were left in this bloody battle. Gongziyu had personally killed 10 of his brothers. He was very terrifying and merciless. Such a character was indeed very suitable to become the new heavenly demon great emperor. Gongziyu wasn't Gongziyu's match. Gongziyu originally thought that he would die at Gongziyu's hands, but who would have thought? The magic lotus protected its master and released a terrifying power, injuring Gongziyu. At this moment, several grand elders appeared one after another, wanting to kill Gongziyu. Gongziyu questioned these grand elders. He was also the son of a great emperor. Why did they want to kill him? And protect Gongziyu? The answer Gongzi Yu received chilled his heart. Because Gongzi Nye was a pure heavenly demon, he was destined to become the heavenly demon great emperor. And he was just a little bastard. Kill him and give the magic lotus to Nyerer. A grand elder of the heavenly demon clan said coldly. He wanted to kill Gongzi Yu and forcibly take Gongzi Yu's the magic lotus. Chapter 26:12. The grand elders of the myriad races had a good idea, but they had underestimated the extraordinariness of the magic lotus. The magic lotus was extremely powerful. It had directly broken through the layers of seals. Then, it took Gongzi Yu and fled. The Sky Devil race began to pursue Gongzi Yu. In those years, Gongzi Yu had experienced too many tribulations and had narrowly escaped death countless times. Gongzi Yu had once had friends and lovers, but he had seen them die tragically one after another. He gradually became ruthless. Later, Gongzi Yu was stranded in 9 provinces. After many years of fleeing and fighting, he had also suffered serious injuries. Thus, Gongzi Yu sealed himself. Then, he fell into a deep slumber. He hoped to recover from his slumber. What Gongzi Yu didn't know was that after Gongzi Nye was injured by the magic lotus, he also fell into a deep slumber. Because the magic lotus was very frightening and the power it released was very strange, it was very difficult for Gongzi Nye's injuries to completely recover in a short period of time. He needed some special methods to restore his body to its original state. Gongzi Nye was placed on the holy altar of the Sky Devil race's ancestral land to recover. That holy altar was very mystical, and time didn't flow. Thus, Gongzi Nye also didn't age. After countless years, Gongzi Nye also woke up from his deep slumber. The two of them seemed to be destined to meet. I have never forgotten to cut off your head and place it in front of my mother's grave as an offering to her soul. Gongzi Yu's voice was cold. Why else would I call you a bastard? Sky devils are heartless, but you have feelings. A bastard like you is destined to not achieve much and will be trampled under my feet for the rest of your life. Gongzi Nye looked at Gongzi Yu with a mocking expression, his face full of contempt and disdain. In his opinion, Gongzi Yu was nothing to him. Not a brother at all. He was just a bastard who brought shame to the Sky Devil race. Sorry, I was too excited just now. My good little brother, please forgive me for what I did just now. Gongzi Nye suddenly changed his tone. This person was very fickle. The tone of his voice. He could also switch back and forth at will. Gongzi Yu indifferently looked at Gongzi Nye and said, "Why are you acting so hypocritical in front of me? Haven't you always wanted to kill me and seize the magic lotus? My dear brother, I'd rather see you personally give the magic lotus to your dear brother." A ferocious expression appeared on young Master Nye's face. He continued, "My favorite thing to see is my little brother clearly wanting to kill me but being unable to do so. In the end, you can only kneel on the ground and submit to me. Don't you think that's a very exciting feeling?" "Are you dreaming?" Gongzi Yu said coldly. Gongzi Nye smiled and said, "How could it be wishful thinking? My good little brother, I'll give you 2 choices. The first choice is to submit. The second choice is to die. Then let's fight." Gongzi Yu's expression was indifferent as he charged at Gongzi Nye. He threw a punch at Gongzi Nye, and behind Gongzi Yu, a myriad of demons appeared. Myriad Demon Fist. Not bad, not bad. This myriad demon fist actually manifests a myriad of demons. Looks like you've cultivated it to an extremely high level. Looks like you've improved quite a bit over the years, my good little brother. Gongzi Nye's lips curled into an indifferent smile. His tone was still indifferent, as if he didn't care about Gongzi Yu's attack at all. Perhaps in his opinion, breaking Gongzi Yu's attack was a very simple matter for him. Gongzi Nye made his move and walked towards Gongzi Yu step by step. Suddenly, a terrifying aura erupted from Gongzi Nye's body. Domineering aura. It was actually a domineering aura. Gongzi Nye's domineering aura was green. It was on the same level as Lin Feng's White Tiger domineering aura. It was the 7th level of domineering aura. The power of this domineering aura was unimaginably powerful. Once it was released, it was simply invincible. Especially when a powerful existence like Gongzi Nye used it. It was even more terrifying. Previously, the Demon Lord had said that Gongzi Nye wasn't simple. He was a person who hid very deeply. Everything that happened today seemed to prove that the demon lord's words were correct. Gongxinye had indeed hidden very deeply. He actually possessed green domineering aura. If Gongxinye didn't use it, no one would know that he possessed such a terrifying domineering aura. The moment the green domineering aura was released, Gongziyu's divine ability was immediately broken. Gongziyu was also sent flying. In the past few years, Gongziyu had been condensing his domineering aura. However, it was not an easy task to cultivate Haki. Just look at Lin Feng's White Tiger domineering aura. Even after obtaining the White Bone's sacred bone and the cultivation method, he still hadn't succeeded in cultivating it. It could be seen how difficult it was to cultivate domineering aura. However, Gongxinye had already condensed his domineering aura, and it was such a powerful domineering aura. After Gongziyu was sent flying, he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His face also became as pale as paper. Gongxinye quickly charged towards Gongziyu. He punched towards Gongziyu. Gongziyu was intimidated by the green domineering aura. Although he wasn't completely suppressed, his movement speed was greatly reduced. This was the terrifying part of domineering aura. When Gongxinye used his domineering aura, it could increase his cultivation. Gongziyu realized that he couldn't dodge Gongxinye's attack, so he blocked it. The two sides fiercely collided. Following the violent collision, Gongziyu was sent flying by Gongxinye. Kacha kacha. His arm was directly broken. My good little brother, you're really too weak. Gongxinye looked at Gongziyu with disdain. You're actually so strong? Gongziyu's face revealed an incomparably shocked expression. He didn't even dare to believe what he was seeing. I forgot to tell you that I've swallowed the divine blood. I now possess 30% of the combat strength of a great emperor. Not to mention you, even a quasi-emperor realm cultivator who has reached the 99th step of the stone steps can only die in front of me. Gongxinye's mouth curved into a sinister smile. So that's how it is. Gongziyu's expression was gloomy. He directly summoned the magic lotus. After seeing the magic lotus, Gongxinye's eyes suddenly revealed a burning gaze. It was a gaze of naked greed. Gongxinye had been peeping at Gongzi use the magic lotus. Now that he saw the magic lotus, he couldn't wait to immediately take it for himself. My good little brother, you think you can deal with me by using the magic lotus? You're gravely mistaken. In my eyes, you're too weak. Even if you use the magic lotus, you're still weak. Chapter 26:13. Gongxinye was the type of person who would make anyone want to smash him to death with a single glance. His arrogance was emitted from his bones. That kind of high and mighty appearance and attitude was really annoying. Gongziyu controlled the magic lotus to attack Gongxinye. Gongziyu had been refining the magic lotus for years. Although he had yet to fully control the magic lotus, he had already gained control of a portion of the magic lotus's power. It was a sacred artifact of the celestial demons. Thus, just a portion of its power was already terrifying enough. He could unleash a powerful attack. Boom! The magic lotus unleashed its power, emitting terrifying ripples that swept through the world and suppressed Gongxinye. You've finally activated the magic lotus's power? I still remember how the magic lotus injured me back then. If it wasn't for the magic lotus, I wouldn't have been in a deep slumber for so long. If it wasn't for the magic lotus, I might have already become a great emperor. My good little brother, you're the main culprit behind all of this. Why did the magic lotus choose a little bastard like you instead of me despite my noble bloodline and great talent? Gongxinye became more and more agitated as he spoke. His eyes flickered with deep jealousy. Gongxinye had always been jealous of Gongziyu's good luck. In his eyes, Gongziyu was just a little bastard. A lowly and despicable little bastard. However, Gongziyu had been chosen by the magic lotus. This was something Gongxinye couldn't accept. The sacred artifact of the celestial demons. It should have chosen to follow him instead. That's because your heart isn't in the right place. Gongziyu's expression was indifferent. Ha 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 ha. Gongxinye burst into laughter, as if he had heard the funniest joke in the world. He looked at Lin Feng with a mocking gaze and said, How can you say that you have evil intentions to me? What a joke. The heavenly devil is heartless. In order to pursue the great way, he can do anything. The world of cultivators is a heartless thing. Why? You have feelings in your heart? As expected of a bastard born of a lowly woman. As soon as young Master Nye finished speaking, he blasted out a palm attack. His combat strength was too terrifying. He directly destroyed the Magic Lotus's attack and quickly rushed towards Gong Ziyu. When Gong Zong Nye said that he had 30% of a great emperor's battle power, perhaps that was an exaggeration. However, this person was truly too powerful. If Lin Feng was here, he would also be extremely shocked. This was because Lin Feng knew how powerful Gong Ziyu's the Magic Lotus was. Controlling a treasure like the Magic Lotus. Using Gong Ziyu's cultivation to activate the Magic Lotus. Not to mention the younger generation, even the older generation of cultivators would have to temporarily avoid it. But what about young Master Nye? Yet he was absolutely domineering. He destroyed the Magic Lotus's attack as easily as crushing dry weeds and smashing rotten wood. Young Master Nye raised his right hand. Demonic light lingered on his palm. When this palm came down, it immediately felt as if the world was spinning and the sun and moon were collapsing. Young Master Nye's palm was called the Sacred Devil Hand. It was a peerless divine ability passed down by the Heavenly Devil Clan. It was an extremely powerful immortal art. With young Master Nye's strength, the power of this immortal art was extremely strong. One could only imagine how terrifying it was. In fact, from young Master Nye's attack, it could be seen that he wasn't as frivolous as he appeared on the surface. Because he was so powerful, when he attacked, it was still like a lion hunting a rabbit. It could be seen that young Master Nye was only arrogant on the outside, but was actually very cautious on the inside. People with this kind of character were actually the most terrifying. The Magic Lotus rotated, and a demonic river appeared. That was the demonic river that the Magic Lotus revealed. It swept through the world, shook the void, and swept through the world. Waves of noises came from the demonic river. If one listened carefully, it was as if millions of demonic gods were roaring. The demonic river's power was extremely tyrannical. Bang! The demonic river collided with young Master Nye, and an earth-shattering sound suddenly came out. Young Master Nye's method was unimaginably powerful. It actually directly shattered the demonic river. This demonic river was an attack unleashed by the Magic Lotus, but it couldn't stop young Master Nye's footsteps. Young Master Nye's cultivation had reached an unfathomable level. Young Master Nye instantly arrived below the Magic Lotus and punched at Gong Ziyu. A contemptuous smile appeared on his face. My good little brother, you're really too weak. Even if you control the Magic Lotus, you're still so weak. The Magic Lotus, a sacred object, is really a pearl covered in dust in your hands. It's better to let your good big brother control the Magic Lotus. Buzz. The Magic Lotus released a demonic light that enveloped Gong Ziyu's body. This demonic light was a defensive light. It was very powerful and could block any attack. But when young Master Nye's punch landed on the demonic light was directly shattered. Young Master Nye's punch ruthlessly landed on Gong Ziyu's chest. Bang! Gong Ziyu's chest immediately exploded. He suffered a near-fatal injury. Fortunately, the Heavenly Fiend clan's vitality was incomparably tenacious. Otherwise, Gong Ziyu would have already died from that punch. Weak. Weak. Really too weak. Young Master Nye's lips curled into a sneer and disdainful arc. He continued to walk towards Gong Ziyu. He raised his right hand. Then he directly slashed at Gong Ziyu. A dazzling sword chi condensed and slashed at Gong Ziyu. The power of this sword chi was so strong that it tore the void apart. Then it quickly arrived in front of Gong Ziyu. Gong Ziyu wanted to dodge, but it was too late. His pupils slightly dilated. Gong Ziyu's heart was filled with endless sorrow. He felt an unprecedented feeling of power sweep through his body. Gong Ziyu worked hard to cultivate and furiously make himself stronger. But his efforts, in the end, it was all in vain. Death. This was his final destination. But Gong Ziyu was unwilling to die like this. But no matter how unwilling he was, what was the use? Young Master Nye's strength was already not something he could contend against. Young Master Nye's expression was indifferent as he watched this scene. His lips curled into a sinister arc as if he could already see Gong Ziyu dying under his attack. seeing that Gongzi Yu was about to be killed. But at this moment, the magic lotus released a demonic light that enveloped Gongzi Yu. Swish! With a flash of light, Gongzi Yu disappeared. Young Master Nie's attack landed on empty air. Gongzi Yu was sucked into the magic lotus's internal space. Then the magic lotus lightly shook. It directly tore through the void and escaped without a trace. The magic lotus is worthy of being a holy artifact. It's really powerful. Young Master Nie clicked his tongue in wonder. Then the corner of his mouth curled into a cold smile. My good little brother, you can't escape. Chapter 26:14. Roar. A series of beastly roars came from the mountain forest, resounding through the clouds and shaking the void. This was an overlord-level beast. It was shrouded in flames and had two heads. One was the head of a swanee, and the other was the head of a swanee. This kind of ferocious beast was abnormally powerful. It had the power to destroy the world. Lin Feng fought with this beast. During this period of time, Lin Feng had been constantly challenging these top-level beasts to train his cultivation. Although this overlord-level beast was strong, it could only deal with Lin Feng's attacks tirelessly. Of course, it wasn't easy for Lin Feng to kill this overlord-level beast. This overlord-level beast finally broke free from Lin Feng's attacks and escaped. After the battle, Lin Feng went to a pool to take a bath. He washed his body and washed off the sweat on his body. It was really comfortable. More than 10 female cultivators flew over from the distance and saw Lin Feng walking up from the shore. They did not avert their gazes. Instead, they pointed and whispered among themselves. They were very bold. These were the female cultivators of the outside world. They were passionate and unrestrained. Lin Feng ignored those female cultivators and quickly left to find a place to rest. The southern immortal demon realm was very big. Lin Feng was training while looking for news of Duguya. Of course, Lin Feng didn't know if Duguya was really in the southern immortal demon realm. This was because all the information about Duguya was Lin Feng's own guess. He didn't know how reliable this information was. In addition, the heaven-shaking steel didn't appear. Lin Feng knew that he still needed to wait for a while. The true fortune hadn't appeared yet. If the heaven-shaking steel appeared, it would be a heaven-defying fortune. If anyone could learn something special from the steel, it would be a great harvest. On that day, Lin Feng suddenly heard some news. It was said that in the depths of an ancient mountain range, there was a holy light. Cultivators who bathed in the holy light could benefit greatly. Some people understood Tao while bathed in the holy light, and some people broke through to the next cultivation layer. This news caused a huge uproar. Many people went to that place, wanting to bathe in the sacred light to see if it really had such an effect. Lin Feng was also very interested. He didn't know what this sacred light was. The ancient forest wasn't peaceful at all. This place was full of danger. Not only were there many powerful beasts active here, but there were also many cultivators who liked to kill and steal. Along the way, Lin Feng saw at least 10 waves of cultivators fighting. Either they were fighting over some treasures, or they were killing each other to snatch treasures. This kind of thing was not uncommon. Finally, Lin Feng reached the depths of the forest. When he arrived, many people had already gathered here. There were 9 mountain ranges in the depths of the forest. These 9 mountain ranges actually looked like 9 fierce beasts. These 9 fierce beasts were Chionyo, Yazi, Chaofeng, Paleo, Swanee, Taotai, Swanee, Fushi, and Chiwon. The origins of these 9 fierce beasts were very famous, because these 9 fierce beasts were rumored to be the sons of the dragon. The dragon had 9 sons, but the 9 sons were different, and the 9 mountain ranges that appeared here were exactly the same as the 9 sons of the dragon, causing many people to feel astonished. This is the legendary 9 Beast Mountain. It is said that there are some shocking secrets hidden here, but no one knows what they are. Those who try to find the secrets of the 9 Beast Mountain will suffer a calamity. A middle-aged cultivator said. He thought of a secret. The secret mentioned the 9 Beast Mountain. There's no need to find the secrets of the 9 Beast Mountain. Just comprehend the Tao and the sacred light of the 9 Beast Mountain. Being able to comprehend the Tao is a great opportunity. Someone said. He did not want to explore the secrets of the 9 Beast Mountain. There was no need to take the risk. The sacred light of the Nine-Beast Mountain appears once every 7 days. The next time it appears will be 2 days later. After the sacred light appears, it will last for 3 days. Before the sacred light disappears, you must leave the Nine-Beast Mountain. Otherwise, you will suffer a calamity. An old man said, "Suffer a calamity? Will something terrible happen?" Someone asked. He was very curious about this matter because the next time the sacred light appeared, those people planned to enter it. One day, after the sacred light disappears, the Nine-Beast Mountain will be shrouded in darkness. It is said that a terrifying existence will appear and eat all the living things in the Nine-Beast Mountain. The old man said. At this time, everyone realized that the Nine-Beast Mountain was very quiet. Such a lush forest should not be so quiet. But in the Nine-Beast Mountain, there was not even the sound of insects and birds. Thus, one could tell that the Nine-Beast Mountain contained great danger. Lin Feng stood in the distance and looked at the Nine-Beast Mountain. He found that the Nine-Beast Mountain was very different from others. There was a very strange energy lingering around it, that she made Lin Feng have the impression that it was terrifying. This is a land of peril. 9 is the number of extremes. Therefore, the Nine-Beast Mountain is equivalent to a land of death. The Demon Lord said. Lin Feng could not help but feel slightly moved. He sent a message to the Demon Lord and asked, "It seems that you know something about the Nine-Beast Mountain, Demon Lord." The Demon Lord said, "I have heard a story about the Nine-Beast Mountain, but I don't know if it is true." "What story?" Lin Feng asked. "A long, long time ago, there was a true dragon emperor who was schemed against by others. He was severely injured, and there was no way he could save himself. The true dragon emperor's 9 sons heard that there was someone who could save the true dragon emperor. So the 9 sons went to the person's residence and begged that person to save their father. That person said that he was cursed and turned into a cursed being. He could not even save himself, let alone others, unless the 9 sons of the true dragon emperor were willing to bear the endless pain in his place. The 9 sons of the true dragon emperor agreed. They were willing to bear the pain of the curse for that person. Chapter 26:15. When Lin Feng heard Yao Jun's story, he frowned. Even though he didn't know if it was true. Although the story was debatable, it was worth thinking about. The world of cultivators was indeed filled with deception and intrigue. Of course, it was also filled with all kinds of lies and deceit. Many times, trusting others unconditionally would lead to a tragic end. The fate of the 9 dragon sons explained everything. If this matter was true, the 9 dragon sons were really too pitiful. Anyone who encountered such a thing would probably be driven crazy, right? Lin Feng found a place to rest while waiting for the holy light to appear again. He was looking forward to the effects of the holy light. If he could comprehend the great Tao, it would naturally be something to be happy about. More importantly, the holy light seemed to have the power to raise one's cultivation. Of course, all of this would have to wait until Lin Feng entered the holy light and personally experienced its power before he could make a judgment. More and more people came to the Nine-Beast Mountain. Many people were watching the Nine-Beast Mountain. There was no lack of powerful figures among them. Have you heard? The blood-winged heavenly wolf clan's heaven-defying genius, Long Qinya, was killed. This matter has angered the blood-winged heavenly wolf clan. While waiting for the holy light to appear, some people were discussing the recent events in the southern immortal devil realm. As a heaven-defying genius, Long Qinya's death was naturally a huge matter. One had to know that a heaven-defying genius like Long Qinya was extremely rare among the younger generation of the myriad races. Many of the royal clans might not even be able to produce a genius like him. The blood-winged heavenly wolf clan attached great importance to Long Qinya, so they passed down the purgatory fiend spear to him. However, Long Qinya was still killed. The blood-winged heavenly wolf clan was about to go crazy. They had been investigating who the murderer was. I've also heard about this matter. Long Qinya's cultivation is extremely terrifying. Just who could kill him? Some cultivators of the myriad races said. They were also extremely puzzled. They found it unbelievable that such a heaven-defying genius like Long Qinya had been killed. It said that Long Qinya, Xin Daotian, Nalan Hanyue, and the others released a foreign being. Some people suspect that it was that foreign being who killed Lung Qinya. A myriad races cultivator said, but that otherworldly creature still hasn't appeared. Who knows where it ran off to? Another myriad races cultivator said, Lung Qinya's death could be said to have caused a huge uproar among the myriad races. This matter was no small matter. The cultivators of 9 regions were also talking about the fall of Lung Qinya. Unlike the cultivators of the myriad clans, the cultivators of the 9 regions were all jubilant. A heaven-defying genius of the myriad races had died. For the 9 prefectures, this was naturally a great thing. During this period of time, Lin Feng also heard some news about Lung Qinya's death. The outside world still did not know that Lung Qinya was killed by him. Even if the outside world knew, Lin Feng was not afraid. Now that his cultivation level had increased, only great emperors could kill him. Lin Feng couldn't compete with other cultivators of the same cultivation level as him, but now, he had become much stronger. However, Lin Feng believed that with his own methods, he could easily get rid of the other party. Therefore, Lin Feng was not worried about the revenge of the Blood-Winged Wolf clan. Now that Lin Feng needed to fight, if the experts of the Blood-Winged Wolf clan really came looking for trouble, Lin Feng did not mind killing to prove his Tao. Once he successfully cultivated the White Tiger aura, Lin Feng, who had mastered 3 types of aura, would be able to do so. At that time, he would be invincible. Boom! A violent fluctuation came from afar. A powerful cultivator had arrived. Xindao Tian was surrounded by divine light as he walked over step by step. He was like a divine king descending to the mortal world. His temperament was extraordinary, and he was handsome and unrestrained, attracting the attention of many people. They were both heaven-defying geniuses, but Xindao Tian was much stronger than Lung Qinya. First of all, in terms of bloodline, Xindao Tian was the successor of the ancient god clan. The ancient god clan's bloodline was one of the royal clans of the myriad races. It was one of the most powerful bloodlines among the myriad races. The ancient god clan's ancestors had immortals. As for the blood-winged wolf clan's ancestors, only a great emperor had appeared. The difference in bloodline was huge. In addition, Xindao Tian's talent was extraordinary. When he was born with divine light in his hand. Therefore, the outside world had always said that Xindao Tian was the reincarnation of an ancient expert. However, the cultivators of the outside world didn't know whether it was true or not. This was all a secret. Perhaps only the cultivators of the ancient god clan knew everything. After Xindao Tian arrived, another expert arrived. He was tall and sturdy and had long golden hair. He was an elite of the Golden Saint Lion clan. The Golden Saint Lion clan was a famous clan and also had the royal bloodline among the myriad races. It was said that this clan could open up to 9 heavenly eyes. Once 9 heavenly eyes appeared, they could destroy all living beings. This was a clan that no one dared to provoke. This person is called Huang Yinma. He's a heaven-defying genius of the Golden Saint Lion clan. A human cultivator said in a very soft voice, afraid that Huang Yinma would hear him. Huang Yinma was a surname. Of course, this was a very rare surname. Huang Yinma stood in the void and gave off a very oppressive feeling. When facing Huang Yinma, many people felt a heavy sense of oppression. In the distance, there were bursts of immortal light and a beautiful woman flew over. It was Nalan Hanyue. Lin Feng had seen this woman before. She was still so beautiful and moving. She was a natural beauty and had a heavenly fragrance. Her arrival was more eye-catching than Xindao Tian's and Huang Yinma's. This was because a beautiful woman would be the center of attention wherever she went. The commotion she caused was much greater than that of a male cultivator. Perhaps there will be more heaven-defying geniuses coming, someone said. Sure enough, as the cultivators had guessed, more heaven-defying geniuses arrived not long after. Shrouded in demonic light, Gong Zini looked like a demon emperor. This existence was abnormally terrifying and had hidden very deeply. He had also arrived. After Gong Zini's arrival, the heavenly demon emperor's son also arrived. The heavenly demon emperor's son was now even stronger. Had he already undergone his 3rd bloodline awakening? They are all heaven-defying geniuses of the myriad races. There are no heaven-defying geniuses from the 9 states. A cultivator from the 9 state side. Apart from Lin Feng, is there a second heaven-defying genius in the Nine States? Immediately, the cultivators from the myriad races mocked and ridiculed. Many cultivators from the Nine States had ugly expressions, but they could not refute the other party's words, because the other party's words were indeed very reasonable. Apart from Lin Feng, there seemed to be no second heaven-defying genius in the Nine States. Lin Feng was still standing in the distance and had not shown himself. However, the heavenly demon emperor's sun's senses were very sharp. Chapter 26:16. The grudge between Lin Feng and the heavenly demon emperor's son was too deep. In addition, Lin Feng had snatched away the heavenly demon emperor's son's fortuitous encounter. The item left behind by the heavenly demon emperor's son's ancestor recorded the cultivation method of the great destiny art. It should have been the heavenly demon emperor's son's divine ability. However, it was snatched away in the end and Lin Feng succeeded in cultivating it. The heavenly demon emperor's son hated Lin Feng even more. The hatred between the two of them. Even the Yellow River wouldn't be able to wash it clean. The heavenly demon emperor's son's strength had increased greatly. His biggest wish was to find Lin Feng and torture him. He wanted to make Lin Feng beg for his life, but he couldn't die. However, this wish had never been realized. Now that the heavenly demon emperor's son saw Lin Feng, he was extremely excited. As a heaven-defying genius, the heavenly demon emperor's son was naturally eye-catching. His every move attracted the attention of many. Everyone followed the heavenly demon emperor's son's gaze and looked in the same direction. Then, they saw a cultivator standing on a mountain peak in the distance. From afar, the cultivator was dressed in black and looked extraordinarily handsome. Lin Feng, it's Lin Feng, many people exclaimed. Previously, there was a rumor that Lin Feng had fought with the otherworldly creatures and might have died at their hands. After that, Lin Feng didn't appear for a long time. This seemed to confirm the rumor that Lin Feng might really have died. This matter made the myriad races very excited. It was hard for the cultivators of the Nine States to accept. Of course, many of them didn't believe that Lin Feng had died just like that. Now that Lin Feng had appeared, many of them were delighted. This person is quite lucky. Nalan Hanyue frowned slightly. She recalled that Lin Feng had asked her to deal with the otherworldly creatures with Shundao Tian and Lung Qinya. Nalan Hanyue didn't expect that Lin Feng was still alive. Instead, it was Lung Qinya who was killed. However, after seeing Lin Feng, Nalan Hanyue suddenly felt that Lung Qinya's death was somewhat strange. Perhaps it wasn't done by the otherworldly creatures? Could it be Lin Feng's doing? This idea was quickly rejected by Nalan Hanyue as soon as it appeared. Lin Feng first fought with the otherworldly creatures, and then fought with Lung Qinya. How could he kill Lung Qinya? That was too unrealistic. Shindao's furrowed brows slightly raised. His expression Shundao Tian's son's expression's eyes flashed a flash of coldness. Shindao Tian was also a cultivator who was very good at hiding himself, said Gong Zhongye while looking at Lin Feng. He had seen Lin Feng before and knew that Lin Feng and Gong Zhongye were good friends. Qiong's Qiu. These myriad races were high and mighty and regarded the human race as ants. Therefore, the cultivators of the Qios. Lin Feng was a heaven-defying genius among the younger generation of the human race. Almost all the Qios races viewed him as an enemy. However, some cultivators of the Qios races hid their true thoughts. Some cultivators of the Qios races didn't hide their true thoughts. The Sky Demon Emperor's son quickly flew toward Lin Feng. He sneered at Lin Feng and said, "Kid, did you expect to see me here? Have you thought about what will happen to you after seeing me?" Lin Feng sneered when he saw the Sky Demon Emperor's son's arrogant expression. He said indifferently, "I'm sorry. When I see you, I can't help but think of the scene of you being beaten half to death by me during the Prodigy List ranking competition." Many cultivators of the Nine States burst into laughter. Many of the cultivators of the Nine States who were watching the show were cultivators who had participated in the Prodigy List ranking competition. Therefore, these cultivators had all seen the battle between Lin Feng and the Sky Demon Emperor's son. The Sky Demon Emperor's son was extremely arrogant and didn't think much of Lin Feng. However, in the end, he was beaten half to death by Lin Feng. This matter became the topic of conversation before and after meals. This matter made the Sky Demon Emperor's son extremely angry. The Sky Demon Emperor's son also saw it as a great humiliation. Now that Lin Feng had brought it up, the Sky Demon Emperor's son was being ridiculed by Lin Feng. The Sky Demon Emperor's son was instantly enraged. He wanted nothing more than to cut Lin Feng into 1,000 pieces. People shouldn't live in the past. They should live in the present. The Sky Demon Emperor's son said indifferently, "I'm no longer the same person I used to be. I've wanted to fight you for a long time. I want you to know that you don't even have the power to resist in front of me." The Sky Demon Emperor's son's words were extremely arrogant. He didn't think much of Lin Feng at all. This was the Sky Demon Emperor's son's character. "Is that so? You can try. I've always wanted to kill you and get your black god-devouring flame," Lin Feng said indifferently. "Ha ha ha ha." The Sky Demon Emperor's son suddenly laughed. He looked at Lin Feng with disdain. "It's time to wake up from your dream. With my current strength, I won't even need 10 moves to kill you." The surrounding people were discussing animatedly. The Sky Demon Emperor's son's words were extremely arrogant. One had to know that Lin Feng was also a heaven-defying genius, but the Sky Demon Emperor's son said that he wouldn't even need 10 moves to kill Lin Feng. He really didn't think much of Lin Feng. Everyone could tell that the Sky Demon Emperor's son wasn't trying to provoke Lin Feng with his words. He really looked down on Lin Feng. It was a kind of contempt that came from his bones. Boom! A terrifying aura emanated from the Sky Demon Emperor's son's body. He seemed to want to kill Lin Feng. Many people grew excited, especially the cultivators of the 10,000 races. They were looking forward to the Sky Demon Emperor's son killing Lin Feng outside Nine Beast Mountain. The cultivators of 9 states were very confident in Lin Feng. They believed that Lin Feng would definitely be able to kill the Sky Demon Emperor's son. A great battle was about to break out. However, at that moment, holy light shot into the sky from Nine Beast Mountain. Then, the voice of the heavenly Tao resounded through the clouds. "The holy light has appeared again." Many cultivators cried out in surprise. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. The 9 heaven-defying geniuses quickly flew into the depths of Nine Beast Mountain. The others weren't in the mood to watch the battle between Lin Feng and the Sky Demon Emperor's son. They entered the holy light to comprehend the opportunities within. That was the most important thing. Everything else, that was secondary. The Sky Demon Emperor's son didn't want to continue fighting with Lin Feng. He looked at Lin Feng contemptuously and sneered. "Get lost. Otherwise, when I see you again after you're done cultivating, I'll make this forest your burial ground." With that, the Sky Demon Emperor's son flew into the distance. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. No matter how strong the Sky Demon Emperor's son was, he didn't fear him. Chapter 26:17. The Nine Beast Mountain was not safe because there were many powerful restrictions here. Therefore, unless one's cultivation level was extremely high or they were proficient in arrays otherwise, entering the Nine Beast Mountain would very likely result in death. Therefore, when many cultivators rushed into the Nine Beast Mountain, what awaited them was not the radiance of the holy light. Instead, it was the terrifying restrictions. Many cultivators died one after another under the attacks of the restrictions. However, this did not stop everyone's enthusiasm. Therefore, there were still many cultivators who rushed in one after another, wanting to bathe in the holy light. However, in the end, they died tragically under the attacks of the restrictions. Lin Feng shuttled through the array and entered the holy light. Then, Lin Feng discovered that the holy light on the 9 peaks of the Nine Beast Mountain was the densest. Many cultivators noticed this situation. Therefore, many cultivators wanted to climb the peaks and cultivate on them. Several experts at the heaven-defying level each occupied a mountain. They were unwilling to share the peaks that they occupied with others. Anyone who dared to approach the peaks that they occupied would be mercilessly obliterated. This was a cruel world where strength was respected. Without strength, one would be bullied and might even die tragically. This kind of thing was too common, so everyone was used to it. Therefore, the rest of the cultivators began to fight for the control of the other peaks. Lin Feng climbed up a peak and the cultivators on that peak retreated one after another. Although they did not want to retreat, they were worried that Lin Feng would attack them. A large number of cultivators gathered in the forest and hurriedly found a place to cultivate and comprehend the great Tao nomological laws contained in the holy light. A small number of cultivators were cultivating on the peaks. These cultivators were relatively powerful, although they were not like those heaven-defying elites who could occupy a peak alone. However, they could still share a peak with others. Lin Feng sat cross-legged and carefully comprehended the Tao contained in the holy light. In the holy light, the Tao sounds lingered in the air. The heavenly Tao sounds resounded throughout the world. Lin Feng felt that his body was warm. It was the mysterious power contained in the holy light that made his body feel very comfortable. Soon, Lin Feng discovered something shocking. The power of the holy light was constantly tempering his physical body. At the same time, it was also tempering his magic power and soul. This caused Lin Feng to feel extremely shocked. No wonder so many cultivators were able to break through while bathing in the sacred light. It turned out that the holy light had so many miraculous effects. This was something that Lin Feng had never expected. Lin Feng began to absorb large amounts of holy light. As time passed, Lin Feng vaguely sensed the aura of Tao. The aura of Tao enveloped his entire body. In that instant, Lin Feng had the feeling that he was about to enter a mysterious and abstruse state. However, it was not an easy task to enter that state. Once Lin Feng entered that state of mind, he would be able to obtain incredible benefits. Maybe he would even obtain some powerful inheritances. Lin Feng tried again and again to enter that state of mind, but after many attempts, it ended in failure. However, after failing several times in a row, Lin Feng found that he seemed to have found the trick. In the end, Lin Feng finally sensed the mysterious Tao, the mysterious state of mind. That Tao was an extremely domineering Tao. Lin Feng tried to communicate with that Tao, but suddenly, he felt two dazzling rays of light suddenly light up in the darkness. Those two rays of light were extremely dazzling and eye-catching. Other than being dazzling and eye-catching, it was cold. It was a pair of incomparably cold eyes. The killing intent contained in those eyes made Lin Feng's heart tremble. The most frightening thing was that those eyes seemed to have some kind of terrifying magical power. Once he looked into those eyes, instantly, he would lose himself, and it was very difficult to break free from the confusion. Those eyes contained a power that could make people sink into oblivion. Not good. Something's not right here. Lin Feng's expression suddenly changed. He sensed that something was wrong. Lin Feng began to circulate Lu Ya's star chart. This divine ability was indeed worthy of being the sole secret technique passed down by Taoist Lu Ya. In an instant, Lin Feng regained his clarity of mind. At this moment, Lin Feng realized that the sky had already darkened. In the depths of Nine Beast Mountain, black fog rolled. Roar! A low roar resounded. Nine Saint Mountain became extremely restless. Many cultivators woke up because those cultivators did not succeed in comprehending the Tao like Lin Feng. If a cultivator succeeded in comprehending the Tao, it would not be easy for them to wake up. Blood moon. Why did the moon in the sky turn into a blood moon? A cultivator pointed at the moon in the sky. It was originally a full moon, but now it had turned into a blood moon. It was extremely strange. Blood moons only appear when there's a change in the land of death. Not good. Something's wrong. Lin Feng's face revealed a trace of shock. He had seen the moon suddenly turn into a blood moon in a land of death before, so he had some understanding of this situation. Let's go. Lin Feng did not even think and quickly rushed outside. There were great fortuitous opportunities in such a land of death. However, there were also great dangers. Fortuitous opportunities and dangers always went hand in hand. The cultivators who entered before had obtained fortuitous opportunities, so this place became more and more mysterious. More and more cultivators came from all directions. They entered Nine Beast Mountain. Now, there were about 20 to 30,000 cultivators gathered at Nine Beast Mountain. With so many cultivators gathered, some of them had obtained fortuitous opportunities in Nine Beast Mountain before. They still wanted to continue to obtain new fortuitous opportunities in Nine Beast Mountain, or use the holy light to increase their cultivation. Most of them were entering Nine Beast Mountain for the first time. No one had expected that something would happen to Nine Beast Mountain this time. Let's go. Let's leave this place quickly. Many cultivators shouted loudly, their voices filled with fear. These cultivators also had a premonition that something was about to happen. However, it was already too late to leave Nine Beast Mountain. Clumps of black fog tumbled. It completely enveloped Nine Beast Mountain. The way out was completely sealed. Many people lost their way while looking for a way out. Many people were also killed by the restrictions inside Nine Beast Mountain. Cultivators died everywhere, their blood staining the ground red. However, the most terrifying thing was that there was a terrifying force in Nine Beast Mountain that devoured the flesh and essence of the dead cultivators. That story can't be true, right? Are there really 9 cursed sons of the true dragon great emperor here? The current situation was caused by the 9 sons of the true dragon great emperor using a heaven-defying method. The 9 sons of the true dragon great emperor want to kill everyone who enters Nine Beast Mountain? Chapter 26:18. Now, the demon lord was also muttering because maybe the story he told before was really something that had happened before. If that was the case, it would be troublesome. The 9 sons of the true dragon contained endless resentment, no matter how righteous or kind they were before. But now, they had long become evil beasts. The demon lord said, "Let's wait and see. Maybe there's a way to escape." Lin Feng nodded. This was the only way now. He waited in the forest. Many people were still looking for a way out. Roar. The roar of a beast resounded through the world. Then, the earth shook. The Nine Beast Mountain shook violently as if a peerless demon was about to be born. Waves of cold and terrifying aura filled the world. That aura was so terrifying that everyone felt a bone-chilling coldness. Soon, 9 terrifying creatures walked out from the depths of the Nine Beast Mountain. Fu Shi, one of the 9 sons of the dragon, was also known as Baxia. It was shaped like a turtle and carried a heavy load. It carried the stone tablet for many years. In the temples and ancestral halls, people could see this Hercules who was willing to work hard without complaint. It was said that touching it would bring blessings. Fu Shi, also known as the Charter, was the name of a legendary beast. It was shaped like a tiger and was the 7th son. It loved to argue and was powerful. The tiger-shaped decoration on the top of the prison gate was its portrait. Legend had it that Fu Shi was not only eager to be righteous and spoke out for justice, but also could distinguish right from wrong and decide impartially. In addition to its majestic image, in addition to being decorated on the prison gate, it also crouched on both sides of the hall of the yamen. Every time the yamen chief sat in the hall, its image would be at the top of the chief executive's title plate and the silence avoidance plate. It looked around covetously to maintain the solemnity and righteousness of the court. Tianlu Knowledge Dragon Seed. Legend has it that there are 9 kinds of dragons, each with their own preferences. The 4th is Fu Shi, which is like a tiger and has power, so it was placed in the prison gate. Pu Lao, which is shaped like a dragon but smaller than a dragon, likes to cry. It is said that Pu Lao lived by the sea and was most afraid of whales. Every time it was attacked by a whale, Pu Lao would cry out non-stop. Therefore, people put his image on the bell and carved the long wood of the bell into the shape of a whale and used it to strike the bell, hoping that the sound would be loud and clear. When the whale attacked, it was so scared that it roared loudly. People reported that according to its nature is fond of ringing characteristic, every bell wants to sound louder. That is, the cattail was cast as a bell button, and the wooden pestle used to strike the bell was made in the shape of a whale. When the bell was rung, he let the whale hit the paleo again and again, so that the sound of the bell would reach the clouds and reach far and wide. Chionyo, a dragon. He loved music. The beast engraved on the head of the Huqin is his portrait. Yuan Jinlei Han, Chapter 438, Dragon of the Scale Division. 4 quotations from Chen Rinshi's Book of Potential Lei Han. The dragon has 9 sons, but they are not dragons, and each has his own interests. Chionyo is a good sound, engraved on the Huqin. Generally, the Huqin had the shape of a beast engraved on it, similar to the shape of a dragon. For Chionyo, Chiwan, also known as Chi Wei, was generally regarded as the 2nd son of the dragon. It liked to look around, and was often arranged on the ridge of a building, making the shape of opening its mouth to swallow the ridge, and was fixed by a sword. Taiping Yulan had the following record. Tang Hui, Han Xiang Liang Palace. After the disaster, Yu said, "There is a fish dragon in the sea. Its tail is like a chi, and the waves are like rain, so it was made to look like its tail, to repel fire." The Wu mentioned in the text was the class of necromancers, and the fish dragon was the predecessor of Chiwan. Chiwan belonged to the water, and it was used to suppress evil to avoid fire. Chiwan, shaped like a lion, liked smoke and sat well. Buddha saw that it was patient, so he kept it under his crotch as a mount. Buddha Manjushri once had a mount, which was Chiwan. Yazi, with a dragon's body and a wolf's head, had a strong character, was brave and good at fighting, and was addicted to killing and fighting. It always held a sword in its mouth and stared angrily. It was engraved on the sword ring and the sword hilt to increase its power. As the saying goes, a meal of kindness must be repaid, and a grievance of chi one must be avenged. Yazi became the incarnation of all evil. Taodai, with a body like the velociraptor of the Western Dragon Clan. However, its eyes grew under its armpits, and it had tiger teeth and human claws. It had a big head and a big mouth. It was very gluttonous and would eat anything it saw. It was said that it could swallow a life planet in one bite. Chao Feng, one of the 9 sons of the dragon, was the head of a scaled insect. It had a slender body, similar to a dragon. Chao Feng not only symbolized auspiciousness, beauty, and majesty, but it also had the meaning of deterring demons and eliminating disasters. Its shape was often used as a decoration on the corners of the palace. Chao Feng's placement made the entire palace's design strict and varied, achieving a solemn and lively harmony, a unity of grandeur and delicacy. It added a layer of mystery to the towering palace. Therefore, many of the 9 sons of the true dragon were auspicious beasts. However, the 9 sons of the true dragon had now turned into evil beasts. The 9 sons of the true dragon coiled in the darkness, emitting a cold and terrifying aura. They began to hunt down the cultivators trapped in 9 Beast Mountain. "My grandfather is the clan leader of the Shintian Divine Devil Clan. If you dare to kill me, you'll die too." A cultivator of the myriad races cried out in fear, trying to intimidate a dragon son who attacked him. However, it was useless. The dragon son was not affected at all. It pounced forward and ate the cultivator in one bite. Such a scene happened in many places. No matter what identity they had in the outside world, they were now food for the 9 sons of the true dragon. "I don't want to die." Many cultivators cried out in fear and fled in all directions, trying to escape from 9 Beast Mountain. However, they were powerless. In the end, they became food for the 9 sons of the true dragon. "We haven't eaten in a long time. Today, we'll eat to our heart's content," a terrifying creature said coldly. It was the Taodai that spoke. The Taodai opened its bloody mouth. It suddenly inhaled hundreds of cultivators. They were immediately devoured by the Taodai. What a powerful bloodline! Suddenly, the Taodai roared and looked in a certain direction. "Oh no, I've been discovered." Lin Feng's expression changed abruptly. The Taodai was looking in his direction. Lin Feng quickly flew into the distance. What he needed to do now was to get as far away from the 9 sons of the true dragon as possible. Because Lin Feng knew, usually, the changes in the land of death would return to normal when the sun rose the next day. Now, he had to hold on until the sun rose to stay alive. However, Lin Feng was now being targeted by the Taodai. Lin Feng sensed danger. He quickly fled into the distance. However, the Taodai was hot on his tail. The Taodai was too fast. It was getting closer and closer to Lin Feng. Lin Feng's expression turned extremely unsightly. He knew he was in big trouble. If he was careless, he might be devoured by the Taodai. Chapter 26:19. Brat, you won't be able to escape. Your bloodline is extremely powerful. I'm going to eat you. The Taodai roared furiously and opened its mouth wide. It wanted to swallow Lin Feng. Suddenly, Tao Tai inhaled. A powerful devouring force enveloped Lin Feng, trying to engulf Lin Feng before devouring him. Lin Feng stepped on the world of 8 directions and pushed his speed to the limit, turning into a bolt of lightning as he charged forward. Tao Tai's attack missed, and Lin Feng managed to shake it off once again. This infuriated Tao Tai. Its voice was filled with killing intent. "Brat, you won't be able to escape. I'll catch up to you very soon. Then, you'll become the most delicious meal." Lin Feng asked as he fled. "Big guy, let me ask you something. Did you fall into someone's trap because you wanted to save a true dragon emperor? Is that why you were cursed?" Tao Tai was clearly stunned. It then said indifferently, "How did you know?" "I know a lot of things. It seems like this is true. It said that a total of 9 true dragon emperors have appeared. Which one is your father?" Lin Feng asked curiously. The 9th true dragon emperor had appeared during the primordial era. The rest had appeared even earlier than that. That was because too much time had passed. Therefore, there was very little information about the true dragon emperors in the world. Lin Feng didn't know much about the 9 real dragon great emperors, but he had obtained a real dragon great emperor's talisman before. It seemed to be able to command millions of dragons. However, Lin Feng had no idea which true dragon emperor token had been forged by. The true dragon emperor token was still in his mountain river ring. Lin Feng planned to head to the dragon world in the future, once he subdued the dragons in the dragon world. By then, Lin Feng would be able to command the dragons. "Brat, you asked too many questions. Do you think I need to answer a dying man like you?" Tao Tai's voice was cold. Its roar shook heaven and earth. Tao Tai's speed continued to increase as it chased after Lin Feng. Tao Tai was getting faster and faster. It was very troublesome to shake it off. A roar came from afar as a powerful beast rushed over. It was a Yazi. It wanted to devour Lin Feng. Tao Tai said coldly, "Fifth, I have my eyes on this brat. Stay away from him." Yazi looked coldly at Tao Tai. In the end, he had abandoned Lin Feng. Yazi was no match for Tao Tai. Tao Tai was to be 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 to be. Therefore, the other dragon sons were also very afraid of Tao Tai. The Tao Tai kept chasing after Lin Feng, trying to kill him, to escape. He thought of a new method, to be toot. After a short time, Lin Feng saw a cultivator. Gongxinye, Gongzi Yu's elder brother. Of course, he was also Gongzi Yu's enemy. Gongxinye saw Lin Feng as well. A mocking expression appeared on his face. He sneered and said, "I heard that you were targeted by a foreign creature. I didn't expect a lowly fellow like you to be so lucky. You actually managed to escape from that creature's attack. I heard that the more you want to prove something, the more you want to hide it. You always say that others are lowly, but that's just an excuse to hide your lowly status. This is a principle that hasn't changed since ancient times." Lin Feng laughed. "What did you say?" Gongxinye narrowed his eyes. A cold glint flashed in his eyes. He wanted to kill Lin Feng. Lin Feng acted as though he didn't sense Gongxinye's killing intent. He said indifferently, "I heard that the heavenly devil race used to be slaves of the primordial demon race. You were slaves for generations until the primordial era. Is that true?" This was something the heavenly devil race didn't want to remember. No one dared to mention the primordial demon race in front of a heavenly devil race cultivator. Now, Lin Feng was talking about the primordial demon race in front of Gongxinye. Clearly, he wanted to provoke and humiliate Gongxinye. "I wanted to let you live a little longer, but since you're courting death, don't blame me." Gongxinye's body emitted a terrifying aura. He seemed to be unable to control himself and was about to attack Lin Feng. At that moment, Lin Feng saw the Tao Tai flying over. He looked at Gongxinye indifferently and said, "Gongxinye, don't think too highly of yourself. Killing you is easier than killing an ant for me. However, on account of Gongzi Yu, I'll spare your dog life today." "Go to hell." Gongxinye sent a palm strike at Lin Feng, but Lin Feng dodged it. Lin Feng quickly flew into the distance. Gongxinye's expression was cold. Just as he was about to chase after Lin Feng, the Tao Tai caught up. "Not bad, not bad. Another ant with a powerful bloodline. I'll devour you first, then I'll devour the other brat." The Tao Tai pounced at Gongxinye. "Damn it. Gongxinye couldn't help but roar in exasperation. By now, he had regained his senses. He knew that he had been tricked by Lin Feng. Lin Feng was just trying to divert the disaster. He wanted Gongxinye to help him stop the Taodai. He felt a terrifying aura. Gongxinye was very arrogant. However, he didn't dare to fight the Taodai. He turned and fled. "Where do you think you're going?" The Taodai sneered and chased after Gongxinye. Lin Feng felt that he still needed to find a way out because the 9 sons of the true dragon were too terrifying. He was worried that he wouldn't be able to last until the sun came out tomorrow and would be killed by them. Lin Feng shuttled through 9 Beast Mountain. However, he found that the restrictions on 9 Beast Mountain were very strange. There was a Heaven and Earth Universe reversal array here. Cultivators who were trapped in the Heaven and Earth Universe reversal array couldn't get out at all. If they wanted to force their way out, they would only be completely lost in the array. The best way was to wait for tomorrow. This night was simply a bloodbath. Tens of thousands of cultivators became food for the 9 sons of the true dragon. In the latter half of the night, there were very few cultivators left alive. The air was filled with the smell of blood. Broken limbs that hadn't been eaten could be seen everywhere. Lin Feng and the others had nowhere to hide. They were found by the 9 sons of the true dragon and driven out. In the end, Lin Feng, the son of the Sky Demon Emperor, Gongxinye, Xin Daotian, Nalan Hanyue, Huang Yinma, and 3 other powerful cultivators were driven into a valley in 9 Beast Mountain. It was a valley of death. Chapter 26:20. Crack, crack. All the skeletons in Death Valley began to move. At this moment, the skeletons actually came back to life. Then, they turned into skeletons. These skeletons were extremely terrifying. Each skeleton exuded an eerie and terrifying aura. The eyes of the skeletons flickered with ghostly fire. The ghostly fire flickered violently. Lin Feng even sensed that some of the skeletons were communicating via divine will. They were surrounded. Not only were the 9 sons of the true dragons eyeing them covetously, but there were also so many skeletons. This place had been completely surrounded. To Lin Feng and the rest, the situation was extremely dangerous. "Your bloodlines are very powerful, but you are destined to become our food." Qianyo looked coldly at Lin Feng and the rest. The killing intent in his eyes was not concealed at all. This creature's cultivation was exceptionally terrifying. Now, he was like a demon god looking down on Lin Feng and the rest. Perhaps in Qianyo's eyes, these cultivators before him, there was no hope of survival. Swoosh! At this moment, there was a flash of light. The son of the heavenly demon emperor was the first to disappear. It was unknown what method the son of the heavenly demon emperor had used to teleport away. One had to know that this was a land of death. It was densely covered with powerful restrictions. It was extremely terrifying. Even Lin Feng, who was a great scholar of deployment spells, couldn't leave that place, let alone others. The son of the heavenly demon emperor was able to leave so smoothly, definitely not because of his own strength. Perhaps he had some amazing treasure on him. Then, he had to pay a certain price to escape. Of course, it was also possible that he had treasures like the Boundary Breaker Talisman. Such treasures were too precious. It was not something an ordinary person could possess. However, the son of the heavenly demon emperor had many treasures on him. His father had left behind many precious treasures for him in the past. "Kill them!" The 9 sons of the true dragons roared furiously. They charged towards Lin Feng and the rest. The skeletons also charged towards Lin Feng and the rest. Swoosh, 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 swoosh. At this moment, rays of light flickered. Lin Feng saw Gongxinye take out a jade talisman. It should be the boundary-breaking talisman. He crushed it and disappeared without a trace. Huang Yinma took out a mysterious small pagoda. It was a small green pagoda. His body quickly shrank and entered the small pagoda. Then, he quickly disappeared without a trace. Xin Daotian took out a mysterious ruler. The ruler cut open the void, and he entered the void to leave. Nalan Hanyue took out a golden flag. He didn't know what kind of flag it was. She grabbed the flag and chanted an incantation. After chanting a few incantations, his body began to turn illusory. Nalan Hanyue was about to escape. Chonyo suddenly stomped the ground. A powerful force condensed from the void. Then, that powerful force swept over Nalan Hanyue's body. Wow! Nalan Hanyue spat out a mouthful of blood, but she still managed to escape. Lin Feng suddenly felt a burst of envy and jealousy. These people all had magic treasures that could allow them to travel out of the land of death. Especially at this time, it came in handy. For a trapped person, it was impossible to not feel envy and jealousy. After Gong Xinye, the son of the Sky Demon Emperor, Huang Yinma, Xin Daotian, and Nalan Hanyue escaped. Now, only Lin Feng and the other 3 cultivators were left. The 3 cultivators were able to survive until now. From this, it could be seen how powerful they were. But, no matter how powerful their cultivation was, they were powerless to reverse the situation, because they didn't have any treasures that could allow them to travel out of the land of death. That kind of treasure would probably be destroyed after one use, because that kind of treasure was too heaven-defying. Generally, heaven-defying things would have extremely short lifespans. Of course, now wasn't the time to care about how many times those treasures could be used. What he needed to care about now was how to survive under the attacks of the 9 sons of the True Dragon and a group of skeleton warriors. This group of terrifying creatures pounced over. Lin Feng found that he couldn't dodge at all. He couldn't block the attacks of these terrifying creatures. Therefore, Lin Feng used the heaven-mending technique. He borrowed another chance from the heavens. Swish! Lin Feng disappeared without a trace. The 9 sons of the True Dragon and a group of skeletons killed the 3 cultivators of the myriad races and then ate them. Lin Feng appeared outside the valley. But now, he was still in the land of death, so it was not realistic for him to get rid of the 9 sons of the True Dragon. Lin Feng fled into the distance. Not long after, he was surrounded by the 9 sons of the True Dragon. What a powerful bloodline! The 9 sons of the True Dragon closed in on Lin Feng step by step. Every dragon son's eyes flashed with a cold light. Lin Feng smiled bitterly at the 9 sons of the True Dragon and said, "Everyone, don't be rash. Impulsiveness is the devil. Anything can be negotiated. Do you have the right to negotiate with us?" Chionyo couldn't help but look at him with disdain. Bai and said indifferently, "The meaning of your existence is to become our food." The 9 sons of the True Dragon were about to pounce on Lin Feng when Lin Feng hurriedly took out the True Dragon Emperor's token. He didn't know if the token could intimidate the 9 sons of the True Dragon. After all, it was a treasure that could intimidate dragons. Although the 9 sons of the True Dragon Emperor were the sons of the True Dragon Emperor, they weren't dragons. But now, Lin Feng had no other choice. He could only take a gamble. The real dragon's 9 sons, who were about to attack Lin Feng, couldn't believe their eyes when they saw the real dragon talisman. The True Dragon Emperor's token? It's actually in your hands. The hearts of the 9 sons of the True Dragon were filled with waves of shock. They still remembered a conversation their father had with them. In the future, an extremely terrifying person will find the True Dragon Emperor's token and become the new master of the dragon race. At the time, the 9 sons of the True Dragon Emperor had asked if the person was a descendant of the primordial chaos era. However, their father had said he didn't dare reveal the person's identity. The only thing he could tell Chionyo and the others was that even the ancestor of the sovereign imperial clan, Hong Ming, Daoist Luya, Hong Jun, ancestor Hun Kuan, and the others couldn't compare. When the 9 sons of the True Dragon Emperor heard that, they were shocked speechless. They hadn't expected this. Countless years later, the True Dragon Emperor's token really did reappear. However, the token had appeared in the hands of a human cultivator who wasn't very strong. This puzzled the 9 sons of the True Dragon Emperor. Chapter 26-21. After thinking about Lin Feng's possible identity, the 9 sons of the True Dragon stopped attacking Lin Feng. This was because they had thought of something that made them extremely excited. If Lin Feng was really the person their father said he was, what level of expert would Lin Feng become in the future? When that time came, would he be able to help them break the curse? The 9 sons of the True Dragon were very excited at this thought. Over the long years, they had almost forgotten who they were. The power of the curse was very terrifying, causing them to lose themselves. Fortunately, The 9 sons of the true dragon had extremely strong willpower. When they were about to fall again and again, they persevered and found their original selves. They did not forget who they were. They did not become slaves to the curse. However, they were destined to not be able to persevere forever. Perhaps they would not be able to hold on for long if they were not able to break free at that time. At that time, they would become slaves to the curse. This was a very terrifying thing. At that time, they would completely lose themselves. They would not be able to forget anything, and they would even forget who they were. They would be no different from walking corpses. Thinking of this, the 9 sons of the true dragon could not help but feel terrified. They longed for freedom. They desperately wanted to be free. However, they had once given up hope because they could not see any hope. Things were different now. They saw a glimmer of hope in Lin Feng. Perhaps they could find a paradise of freedom from Lin Feng. Lin Feng did not know what the 9 sons of the true dragon were thinking, nor did he know what they were thinking. However, after seeing that the 9 sons of the true dragon did not continue attacking him, Lin Feng hurriedly said, "Everyone, the true dragon emperor's medallion is here. I have a relationship with the true dragon clan, so please calm down and let's talk things over." As the eldest of the 9 sons of the true dragon, Chonyo stepped forward and said, "You have the true dragon emperor's medallion, so we can spare your life. We can even let you go, but you have to promise us one thing." After hearing Chonyo's words, Lin Feng was finally able to breathe a sigh of relief. He asked, "What is it?" "In the future, you have to help us break the curse," Chonyo said. When Taodai and the other dragon sons heard the words "remove the curse," they couldn't help but become a little excited. They really wanted to remove the curse on their bodies. For others, freedom was a way of life that was readily available, but to them, that was an extravagant hope. Lin Feng said, "The curse is very strange. I don't know if I have the ability to help you break the curse in the future, but if I have the ability, I will definitely help you break free in the future." Yazi said, "You have the true dragon emperor token, so you will definitely enter the dragon world in the future and lead the dragon race. We have another request." "Just say it," Lin Feng said. Yazi continued, "If you go to the dragon realm in the future, I hope you can go to our father's grave and help us pay tribute to our father." The 9 sons of the true dragon were all filial sons. This could be seen from how they sacrificed themselves to save their father. When the true dragon emperor fell, they had already been cursed in place of the mysterious person, so they could not leave 9 Beast Mountain. Naturally, they could not see the true dragon emperor's body. This was the regret of the 9 sons of the true dragon. They had not been able to pay their respects to their father since his fall. Lin Feng nodded. "Of course, no problem. Which real dragon great emperor is your father?" Chao Feng said, "Our father is the 8th true dragon emperor." Lin Feng said, "I will remember that. We will not treat you unfairly. How about this? We will each impart a divine ability to you. What divine ability do you want? Feel free to tell us," Shonyo said. Lin Feng was stunned. Then, he revealed a look of ecstasy. Each of them imparted a divine ability to him. The 9 sons of the true dragon would give him 9 divine abilities. Lin Feng had already learned many top-notch divine abilities. The divine ability he needed the most was the 3,000 Great Das. This was because the 3,000 Great Das were the foundation of cultivation, becoming a quasi-emperor, emperor, immortal, etc. There were strict requirements for the 3,000 Great Das. The more Great Das one cultivated, the better. Similarly, one could cultivate to the Emperor realm. One could cultivate 300 Great Das. One person had cultivated 400 types of 3,000 Great Das. The two of them had the same cultivation level, but the difference in their combat power was immediately apparent. Lin Feng first thought of the top 10 Great Das. Among the top 10 Great Das, he cultivated the Great Fate Art, Great Karma Art, Great Reincarnation Art, Great Yin-Yang Art, Great Calamity Art, and Great Longevity Art. In addition, he did not cultivate the Great Fate Art, Great Creation Art, Great Eternity Art, and Great Devouring Art. Lin Feng asked, "Do you have the Great Fate Art, Great Creation Art, Great Eternity Art, and Great Devouring Art?" Shonyo said, "We don't have the Great Fate Art. You have to comprehend these Great Das by yourself." Even if others impart them to you, you won't be able to cultivate them. As for the great creation art, great eternity art, and great devouring art, we have them. Lin Feng had expected that the 9 sons of the true dragon would not grasp the great fate art. It was a pleasant surprise that they had grasped the great creation art, great eternity art, and great devouring art. This made Lin Feng extremely happy. These were the top 10 great Daos, and each one was more heaven-defying than the last. The top 10 great Daos could not be compared to the other great Daos. If he could obtain the great creation art, great eternity art, and great devouring art, then Lin Feng would have already cultivated the top 10 great Daos, with the exception of the great fate art. Perhaps apart from the Red World Fairy, Lin Feng was the only person in the world who could gather all 9 great Daos. Lin Feng recalled that his great fate art was only a part of the great fate art. There were still 2 parts that were lost in the past and the future. He asked, "Do you have the great fate art?" Chonyo shook his head no. Of the top 5 great Daos, we have not grasped the other 4 great Daos apart from the great creation art. Since Chonyo did not have the great fate art, Lin Feng asked, "What other powerful great Daos do you have?" Great massacre art, great death substitution art, great transformation art, great black art, great thunderclap art, great rupture art, great prayer art. Chonyo then listed several dozen great Daos. Lin Feng had already cultivated some of the great Daos, but he had not cultivated some of them. He chose 6 of the 3,000 great Daos. Chapter 26-22. These 3,000 great Daos each had their own merits, but they were all very powerful. The great creation technique was ranked 5th among the 3,000 great Daos. As the saying went, karma and reincarnation appeared, and creation was divine. Everything in the world had its own creation. For example, a green lotus might become a demon overlord if it obtained the creation. A beggar might become an emperor if he obtained the creation. A weak cultivator might become a peerless expert if he obtained the creation. The so-called opportunity, from a certain perspective, was a type of creation. Therefore, the Tao of creation was a mysterious great Tao. This was an extremely profound great Tao. Controlling the power of creation would give one many heaven-defying abilities. The great eternity technique was also very heaven-defying. The eternal Tao was said to be able to stop time and turn everything between heaven and earth into static. Of course, it would be very difficult to cultivate to this extent. Lin Feng was not particularly unfamiliar with the great death substitution technique. Originally, the celestial master lineage had an inheritance called the death substitution technique, but this inheritance was taken away by the earth master lineage. This inheritance was a divine ability that evolved from the great death substitution technique. The great massacre technique was an offensive divine ability with extremely terrifying attack power. The great bloodline technique was said to be able to continuously increase the purity of one's bloodline. When activating the power of one's bloodline to fight against an enemy, the great bloodline technique would play a role in promoting it. It could allow a cultivator's bloodline power to be fully unleashed. This was extremely frightening. This was because when cultivators fought, due to various reasons, the bloodline power could not be fully unleashed. Sometimes, it was already good enough to be able to unleash half of the bloodline power. However, after cultivating the great bloodline technique, one would no longer have to worry about not being able to unleash the bloodline power. The great starry sky technique could condense a starry sky world. In the void, the stars were dazzling. However, when the stars fell, it would be as terrifying as the end of the world. This was an offensive divine ability. It had an extremely terrifying offensive power. Once the great void technique was successfully cultivated, one could hide in the void and become a part of the void. This was the best concealment technique. The void travel that Lin Feng had cultivated before. It also had part of the ability of the great void technique, but it was only part of it. What was truly terrifying was the great void technique. It was said that it could travel as far as 100 miles. Void travel, on the other hand, could only travel a few hundred meters. Of course, what Lin Feng liked the most was the concealment ability of the great void technique. After cultivating the great void technique, he could hide from the world. Once he hid in the void and merged with the void, it would be very difficult to find him. The Great Hegemony technique was a very special technique. The Great Hegemony art was a support-type divine ability, so it didn't have much power by itself. This divine ability needed to be used together with Haki. In other words, only cultivators who had mastered Haki could use the Great Haki technique. The Great Haki technique could increase the power of a cultivator's Haki. The higher the level of the Great Haki technique, the more significant the increase in Haki. At most, it was said that it could be increased by 33 times. It was the same as the 8-9 mysteries. He didn't know if there was any relationship between the two divine abilities. In addition, the Great Hegemonic Aura technique had another very important function, which was to help cultivators cultivate their hegemonic aura. For example, Lin Feng was currently cultivating the White Tiger Haki. The Great Hegemonic Aura technique could help Lin Feng cultivate the White Tiger Haki as soon as possible. It could be said that each of the 9 Grand Daos had their own merits. The 9 Grand Daos that Lin Feng had chosen were all very useful to him. Lin Feng said, "You guys have been here for a long time. Let me ask around for some information." "What information?" Chonyo asked. "About 30 years ago, did someone enter the southern immortal demon realm?" Lin Feng asked. He wanted to ask about Duguya. However, he didn't know if Duguya had really entered the southern immortal demon realm. If not, in this vast southern ocean, where could he find him? The southern immortal demon realm is connected to many different space-times. Every year, cultivators enter the southern immortal demon realm. Chonyo said. This shocked Lin Feng. He didn't expect the southern immortal demon realm to hide such a secret. 30 years ago, did any cultivators enter the southern immortal demon realm? Lin Feng asked. 30 years ago? Cultivators from the 9 provinces? The 9 sons of the true dragon frowned as they tried to recall. Chiwen said, "If it's 30 years ago, I do remember a group of cultivators entering the southern immortal demon realm. At that time, the door of eternal life appeared in the southern immortal demon realm and caused a space-time reversal. A passage in the southern immortal demon realm collapsed, and a group of cultivators from the 9 provinces entered the southern immortal demon realm. However, the passage quickly recovered, and those cultivators were trapped in the southern immortal demon realm." Lin Feng's face was filled with excitement. Duguya was probably among the group that entered the southern immortal demon realm. He was his father's best friend. He wondered how Duguya was doing now. Lin Feng asked, "Where are those people?" "They entered the southern immortal demon realm's devil prison, right? Perhaps you can go there and take a look. I wonder if they're still alive." Chonyo said. "Where is the devil prison?" Lin Feng asked. "The devil prison is in the deepest part of the southern immortal demon realm. It's a place shrouded in black fog. There's a heaven-shaking steel sealed in the devil prison. There's a terrifying creature guarding the devil prison." Many cultivators who entered the southern immortal demon realm wanted to search for the steel, but very few were able to find anything. Many died in the devil prison. Fu and I said, "All right, thank you for telling me. I'll go take a look at the devil prison now." Lin Feng cupped his fists. Then, he left. After Lin Feng left, the 9 sons of the true dragon returned to the abyss in the deepest part of 9 Beast Mountain. Back then, Father sealed a memory in our minds. It requires the 9 of us to work together to open the seal. That seal is Father's prophecy. The prophecy will reveal the identity of the person who holds the true Dragon Emperor token. Chonyo said. Fu and I said, "Now that that person has appeared, let's open this memory that has been sealed for countless years and see what kind of origin this person has." The 9 sons of the true dragon nodded. They really wanted to know Lin Feng's identity. This question had been perplexing them for many years. Now, this secret was finally going to be revealed. Therefore, the 9 sons of the true dragon were very excited. The 9 sons of the true dragon opened a piece of information sealed in their souls together. Their divine senses searched for this piece of information. Heavens. Chapter 26-23. The area where the devil prison was located was shrouded in a black fog. Within the black fog, waves of gloomy aura permeated the air, causing one's heart to tremble. By the time Lin Feng arrived, there were already cultivators entering the area. Clearly, Other cultivators had also discovered the extraordinariness of the area and wanted to enter to search for opportunities. Soon, news spread. It was said that a heaven-shaking steel had appeared in the area, causing a huge uproar. Countless cultivators gathered in the area. As expected, the news can't be hidden anymore. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. Once news was exposed, it couldn't be hidden at all. Previously, the 9 sons of the true dragon had said that there was a terrifying creature guarding the heaven-shaking steel in the devil prison. Clearly, when the cultivators who entered the devil prison discovered the steel, they would think of a way to gather more cultivators to deal with the terrifying creature. With the power they possessed, it was unrealistic to want to deal with the terrifying creature in the devil prison. Therefore, they had to find more cultivators to participate. It wasn't certain who would be able to obtain the opportunity here. Currently, the heaven-shaking steel couldn't be refined. Not many cultivators knew this. Lin Feng had heard about it from the Reincarnation Immortal Sutra. Some of the cultivators who entered the devil prison wanted to snatch the heaven-shaking steel. Perhaps some of them just wanted to comprehend some powerful divine abilities from the steel. One had to know that the divine abilities recorded on the heaven-shaking steel were extremely heaven-defying. For example, there were some top immortal techniques, various 3,000 great Daos, and even the great fate art. Perhaps some people would be extremely lucky and comprehend the great fate art. From then on, they would have a meteoric rise. It was not impossible for one to transform into an invincible being. Mastering the great fate art, anything was possible. Why is this place called the Devil Prison? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter. He thought of the Devil Prison in the underworld. It was said to be a place where many terrifying creatures were imprisoned. It was a forbidden place. If one wanted to barge in, only death would await them. A place called the Devil Prison had appeared in the southern immortal devil realm. Naturally, Lin Feng's imagination ran wild. In the depths of the Devil Prison, there was a huge stone tablet that was 1,000 meters tall. It was chained up by chains. A total of 108 chains bound the stone tablet. That stone tablet was indeed a heaven-shaking stone tablet. When Lin Feng saw the sky-shaking stone tablet, he couldn't help but be pleasantly surprised. It wasn't the first time he had seen a sky-shaking stone tablet. Every time he saw one, his heart was pounding. The heaven-shaking stone tablet was too extraordinary. Now, his emotions were surging as he wanted to find out some secrets from the heaven-shaking stone tablet. He just didn't know if he would be able to uncover those secrets. Currently, the surroundings of the heaven-shaking steel were filled with rolling black fog. When Lin Feng saw the black fog, he had the feeling that something was wrong. Why did the black fog look so much like the black fog created by the creatures in the black fog? Could it be that the mysterious creature that suppressed the heaven-shaking steel and guarded this place was the creature in the black fog? The living beings within the black fog were living beings from the previous era. Who knew how terrifying their cultivation states were? It would be fine if the cultivation level of the creatures in the black fog had dropped, but if it hadn't, then it would have been fine. If they didn't, it would be too terrifying. No one was a match for them. Lin Feng took out the stone dagger. He couldn't use the stone sword in the Chonglu Devil Palace for now. If he could use the stone sword, Lin Feng wouldn't be afraid of the living beings within the black fog. With the stone sword in hand, he could kill the living beings within the black fog. The key was that he couldn't use the stone sword. Therefore, he could only use the stone dagger to attack the living beings within the black fog. It's indeed the living beings within the black fog. I can already sense the aura of those terrifying living beings, the demon lord said solemnly. Then, he continued, the living beings within the black fog seem to be in a strange state. Their combat power is far from what we imagined. In the past, the living beings within the black fog could even kill great emperors. From this, it could be seen how terrifying the living beings within the black fog were. Now that the demon lord said that the living beings within the black fog weren't as powerful as they imagined, it seemed that something had happened to the living beings within the black fog. Something must have happened in the past that caused the living beings from the previous era to be severely injured. Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He had seen some images of tribes evolving into cities. After the tribes evolved into cities, the living beings within the black fog rarely appeared. However, some of the things that happened were extremely complicated. It wasn't something that could be explained by some simple images. The undefeatable living beings of the previous era had their cultivation states greatly reduced. Something big must have happened in the past. The drastic reduction in the combat power of the living beings within the black fog might be related to these unforeseen events. Of course, even though the living beings within the black fog had a drastic reduction in their cultivation states, they were still very powerful. Previously, when Lin Feng encountered the living beings within the black fog, he almost suffered a calamity. He didn't act rashly. Instead, he waited for the other major factions to make their move. The strongest force now was the myriad races. The myriad races had descended upon the 9 prefectures. A large part of the reason was the heaven-shaking stone steel in the southern immortal devil realm. Now, the experts of the myriad races had gathered. They would definitely make a move. When the time came, Lin Feng planned to act according to the situation. I haven't seen Senior Duguya in the depths of the devil prison. Senior Duguya couldn't have died, right? When Lin Feng thought of Duguya, his heart couldn't help but sink. If he couldn't find Duguya, he wouldn't know where his mother was sealed. Therefore, Lin Feng kept praying in his heart, hoping that Senior Duguya was still alive. Sever the chains and release the heaven-shaking stone steel. The myriad races also control a heaven-shaking stone steel. The one we control is an extreme Yin stone steel, while this one is an extreme Yang stone steel. I wonder if the one we control can successfully lure this steel to the heavenly sage great world? It's a pity that we can't refine these heaven-shaking stone steels. Although we can't refine them now, we can use another one to suppress this one. Some of the old antiques of the myriad races communicated with each other. Ordinary cultivators of the myriad races didn't know that the heaven-shaking stone steels couldn't be refined. However, these ancient existences were aware of this fact. Let's wait a little longer. There are still a few fellow Taoists who haven't arrived yet. An old antique expert said. The experts of the myriad races were waiting. In addition, some peak experts of the 9 prefectures had also arrived. Similarly, peak experts of the extraterrestrial races had also arrived. Boom! 3 days later, a terrifying aura spread throughout the world. A 1,000-meter-long golden sacred sword flew over from afar, slashing out a 1,000-meter-long sword ray. Chapter 26-24. Golden Holy Sword. The Golden Heavenly Deity Clan has made their move. The cultivators of the myriad races exclaimed when they saw the Golden Holy Sword. The Golden Holy Sword was extraordinary. Its origin was terrifying. It was an ancient imperial weapon. It was said to be an ancient imperial weapon refined by a sage emperor. An ancient imperial weapon like that was extremely heaven-defying. It was said that this ancient imperial weapon was extremely close to the immortal weapon level. The attack of such a powerful ancient imperial weapon was naturally peerless and terrifying. It was so powerful that it could cause one's expression to change. The ancient imperial weapon slammed into the chains that wrapped around the heaven-shaking steel. Clang! A sonorous sound of collision was heard. That tyrannical attack landed on the chains. Sparks flew in all directions. A powerful ancient imperial weapon like the Golden Holy Sword was actually unable to break the chains. The chains that wrapped around the heaven-shaking steel were simply too extraordinary. Lowly living beings, retreat quickly. Otherwise, all of you will die here. A cold voice was heard from the black fog. The voice carried an innate arrogance. It was just like how the myriad races looked down on the other races. In the eyes of the living beings in the black fog, the myriad races were a lowly race. A race that could not even enter their eyes. Attack! The experts of the myriad races shouted coldly. One after another, powerful existences flew toward the heaven-shaking steel with supreme treasures in their hands. A total of 4 ancient imperial weapon-level treasures appeared. Apart from the Golden Holy Sword, there was also a huge blood-colored axe. It was also an ancient imperial weapon-level treasure. There was also a long saber. It was also an ancient imperial weapon-level treasure. The 4th ancient imperial weapon was a meteor hammer. These 4 ancient imperial weapons were brought by the myriad races. It seemed like the myriad races were determined to break the chains that wrapped around the heaven-shaking steel. At this moment, the heaven-shaking steel emitted a shocking fluctuation. Something shocking happened. Runes appeared on the heaven-shaking steel. Those runes were branded on the heaven-shaking steel. Each rune was like a character. They were indeed characters. However, those characters were very mysterious. They were surrounded by the aura of the Great Tao. It was unknown what kind of characters they were. Of course, it did not matter if the cultivators did not recognize those characters. As long as one could comprehend the Tao contained within, then he would be able to comprehend the contents of the words. A lot of words have appeared on the heaven-shaking stone tablet. The heaven-shaking stone tablet's opportunity has arrived. Hurry up and remember those words. As long as you remember one word, it will be a great opportunity. Some of the cultivators shouted out in excitement. Everyone was coveting the opportunities on the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Countless cultivators rushed toward the heaven-shaking stone steel. Despicable creatures, go to hell. There weren't many of them, only about 100 of them. It was unknown what kind of creatures they were, but they were abnormally terrifying as they lingered in the black fog. The 100+ living beings fought against the army of cultivators. Puff, puff, puff. A large number of cultivators were killed. However, there were also people who managed to break through to a place not far from the heaven-shaking steel and memorize some of the words that appeared on the heaven-shaking steel. Then, those cultivators quickly left. They had obtained a great opportunity and were not greedy. They wanted to find a place to comprehend it. The battle was extremely tragic. The cultivators of the 10,000 races wanted to break the chains and release the heaven-shaking stone tablet. In order to prevent this from happening, the living beings in the black fog kept killing the surrounding cultivators. Lin Feng also rushed to the heaven-shaking stone tablet. He first imprinted the soul imprint of the Reincarnation Immortal Sutra into the heaven-shaking stone tablet. Then, Lin Feng imprinted his soul imprint into it. As for whether or not he could refine the heaven-shaking stone tablet in the future, or who could refine the heaven-shaking stone tablet, it was not something that Lin Feng could decide. It would depend on the opportunities and fortunes in the future. A cloud of black fog flew over. There was a terrifying living being hidden in it. Its sharp claws scratched toward Lin Feng. At that moment, Lin Feng actually felt a strong sense of death. He felt that he could not resist that attack at all. The living being in the black fog was indeed powerful. Its cultivation was so terrifying that it made one tremble in fear. Lin Feng activated his supreme aura. With the aura protecting his body, he regained his mobility. Then, he held the stone dagger in his hand and directly stabbed at the other party's sharp claws. Puff! The stone dagger in Lin Feng's hand directly pierced through the black fog living being's claws. Blood immediately spurted out. The stone dagger could hurt the living being in the black fog. This move worked every time. Stone tools. The living being in the black fog let out an angry roar. He quickly retreated and looked at Lin Feng with his cold eyes. His eyes were filled with deep hatred and resentment. He wanted to tear Lin Feng into pieces. He let out a call. 3 living beings in the black fog rushed over from afar. A total of 4 living beings in the black fog surrounded Lin Feng. Ordinary stone tools can't hurt us. Only some special stone tools can hurt us. The stone dagger in your hand is very extraordinary, the injured living being in the black fog said coldly. The surrounding temperature seemed to have suddenly dropped by many degrees. Lin Feng's expression became extremely ugly. He might not be able to deal with one living being in the black fog, let alone 4 of them. Now, Lin Feng was in huge trouble. If he was not careful, he might die here. Oh right, the heaven-shaking steel. I still have the heaven-shaking steel. Lin Feng's face was filled with surprise. He thought of his precious heaven-shaking steel. Although the 2 heaven-shaking steels were incomplete, perhaps they could be used to great effect. The world's most mysterious stone tools. It was definitely the heaven-shaking steel. Lin Feng took out the 2 heaven-shaking steels. Then, he activated the heaven-shaking art. Suddenly, Lin Feng realized that the 2 heaven-shaking steels had a very wonderful fusion with him under the effect of the heaven-shaking art. At the same time, two beams of light shot out from the complete heaven-shaking steel and entered the two incomplete heaven-shaking steels in Lin Feng's hand. Many mysterious runes appeared on the two incomplete heaven-shaking steels. Those runes contained unimaginable power. Lin Feng was shocked. Those runes were terrifying. He quickly activated the two heaven-shaking steels and smashed them at the four living beings in the black fog. Even though they were incomplete heaven-shaking steels, the power they contained was unimaginable. Bang, 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 bang. For dull sounds of collisions were heard. The four living beings in the black fog were sent flying. Each of them coughed up blood. Chapter 26-25. It's that powerful? Lin Feng was shocked. He didn't expect the two broken heaven-shaking steels to be so powerful. Previously, Lin Feng had carried the heaven-shaking steels and killed dozens of foreign creatures. However, the heaven-shaking stone tablet that he had carried back then was a complete one. The current heaven-shaking steel was an incomplete heaven-shaking steel. There was a huge difference between the two. Therefore, the incomplete heaven-shaking steels were able to display such powerful might. Lin Feng was also shocked. Hurry up and remember the runes on the heaven-shaking steels. If you can master those runes, you might be able to activate the two incomplete heaven-shaking steels in the future. The demon lord hurriedly transmitted his voice to Lin Feng. Lin Feng nodded. He hurriedly memorized the runes on the two heaven-shaking steels. At this moment, the four creatures in the black fog called out at the same time. The four creatures in the black fog began to call for their companions. In the distance, more than 10 creatures in the black fog rushed over. Seeing so many creatures in the black fog rushing over, Lin Feng didn't dare to stay any longer. He turned around and ran into the distance. Although he was in control of two damaged heaven-shaking steels, and these two damaged heaven-shaking steels were still extremely powerful. However, if more than a dozen creatures in the black fog were to attack him at the same time, Lin Feng wouldn't be able to take it. Therefore, when he saw the creatures in the black fog attacking him, Lin Feng didn't hesitate and turned around to run. If he was too slow, he might really die here. Kid, you can't escape. The creatures in the black fog quickly chased after Lin Feng. Roar, roar, roar. Let us out. When Lin Feng was leaving, he heard a series of roars coming from the depths. Lin Feng was shocked. This was obviously not the sound of the creatures in the black fog. Could it be that someone was imprisoned in the depths of the black fog? Thinking of this, Lin Feng hurriedly rushed toward the depths. He saw a pitch-black demonic mountain. The demonic mountain was surrounded by runes, and the creature in the black fog had dug out a cave abode on the demonic mountain. That cave abode was actually a cage that imprisoned many cultivators. At this moment, there were two creatures in the black fog guarding the outside of the cage. Could it be that Senior Duguya is imprisoned here? Lin Feng couldn't help but reveal an excited expression. He quickly flew in the direction of the cage. Lowly creature, how dare you approach the heavenly prison? Die. A living being in the black fog charged towards Lin Feng with murderous intent in its eyes. This living being was extremely terrifying. Lin Feng even felt that the creature in the black fog had the power to instantly kill him. However, Lin Feng was now in control of two incomplete heaven-shaking stone steels. Everything in the world had its own counter. It was the same between cultivators. The living being in the black fog was restrained by Lin Feng's heaven-shaking stone steels. Although its cultivation was strong, it wasn't a match for Lin Feng at all. Lin Feng controlled the heaven-shaking stone steels to smash towards the living being in the black fog. Bang! Bang! Two consecutive violent collisions were heard. The living being in the black fog was directly sent flying. Little brother, quickly come and save us. The cultivators standing at the entrance of the cage originally thought that Lin Feng was dead for sure, but when they saw Lin Feng send the living being in the black fog flying, they immediately revealed an excited expression. One by one, they shouted. Lin Feng quickly rushed over and controlled the heaven-shaking stone steels to smash towards the other living being in the black fog. Bam! The heaven-shaking stone steel's power was simply too domineering. It also sent the second living being in the black fog flying. The injuries of the second living being in the black fog were even more severe than the first. They didn't continue to attack Lin Feng. Instead, they shouted for their companions. The dozen or so living beings in the black fog were already chasing after them. Let me ask you, do you know someone called Daguya? Lin Feng didn't directly release these people. Instead, he asked what he wanted to know. He was worried that after releasing these fellows, when the time came, these fellows would scatter. Who would still care about him? Daguya? Who is that? Who is Daguya? Quickly come and meet this little brother, someone said anxiously. At this moment, the dozen or so living beings in the black fog were about to rush over. When those living beings in the black fog arrived, their hopes of escaping would be completely extinguished. I know someone called Daguya. About 30 years ago, he entered the southern immortal demon realm with us in the southern immortal sea. However, before the passage to the southern immortal demon realm was repaired, he left. Those of us who didn't leave the southern immortal demon realm in time were all trapped in the southern immortal demon realm. Many of us were killed, and some of us were captured and imprisoned by those terrifying living beings. An old man said aloud. He left the southern immortal demon realm? Lin Feng was shocked. He didn't expect to hear such news. It seemed that Daguya hadn't shown himself after leaving the southern immortal demon realm. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to hide his tracks so perfectly. Little brother, quickly let us out. We'll pray for you every day. One by one, the cultivators trapped in the cages began begging for mercy. The door of the cage was made of forbidden immortal iron. Cultivators who were trapped inside would have their magic power restricted. Therefore, they didn't have the ability to break the cage. Lin Feng had already gotten the answer he wanted. He hurriedly used the two pieces of the heaven-shaking stone steels to smash the door of the cage. Clang, clang. Two consecutive dull sounds of collision were heard. The cage was directly blasted open by the heaven-shaking stone steels. Lin Feng turned around and flew into the distance. As for the imprisoned cultivators, they rushed out. At least 1,000 cultivators with terrifying strength charged out from the prison. Those cultivators were probably cultivators who had entered the southern immortal demon realm from different space-times. And these cultivators were all imprisoned by the living beings in the black fog. Now, they had regained their freedom. These cultivators all rushed towards the living beings in the black fog. Lin Feng used this opportunity to quickly leave the devil prison. After coming out of the devil prison, Lin Feng didn't stop. He quickly flew out of the southern immortal demon realm. The southern immortal devil realm was too dangerous, no matter what fortuitous encounters there were. Even if there were any opportunities, Lin Feng didn't care anymore. He just wanted to quickly leave the southern immortal demon realm, and then go out to continue searching for Daguya's whereabouts. Now, Lin Feng urgently needed to find Daguya. He didn't know where Daguya was. Lin Feng guessed that Daguya was probably in seclusion somewhere after coming out of the southern immortal demon realm. That was why there was no news of Daguya in the outside world. When Lin Feng was about to leave the southern immortal demon realm, he saw a huge stone steel soaring into the sky and flying out of the southern immortal demon realm. Chapter 26:26. The heaven-shaking steel was free. It had broken free from the suppression of the living beings in the black fog and was now free. Many cultivators were chasing after the heaven-shaking steel, wanting to refine it. However, it was not realistic at all. They could only wait until the end of the era. Only then would the heaven-shaking steel look for its owner. Lin Feng saw the heaven-shaking steel flying over him. He also made an attempt and took out the heaven-swallowing jar. He wanted to use the heaven-swallowing jar to devour the heaven-shaking steel. Of course, it ended in failure. The heaven-shaking steel quickly flew into the distance and disappeared in the blink of an eye. Soon, Lin Feng also left the southern immortal demon realm. He planned to return to the Dragon Gate Island and mobilize the Dragon Gate's power to search for Daguya. However, Lin Feng did not expect that more than 20 terrifying living beings would catch up to him on the third day after he left the southern immortal demon realm. In the sea, blue waves rippled. The sky was clear, and there were no clouds in sight. The black fog was rolling. There were more than 20 living beings floating in the black fog. They were really a group of heaven-defying existences. Even though the living beings in the black fog were no longer as powerful as before, that was only in a relative sense. In fact, they were still so powerful that it was almost impossible to fight against them. With the help of the heaven-shaking steel, Lin Feng could fight against 7 to 8 living beings in the black fog, which was already his limit. However, more than 20 living beings in the black fog had appeared, and he could not fight against them at all. Of course, the most important thing now was, Lin Feng could not activate the heaven-shaking steel. The reason why he could activate the 2 incomplete heaven-shaking steels was that the complete heaven-shaking steel shot out 2 mysterious beams of light. Those 2 beams of light, they poured into Lin Feng's 2 incomplete heaven-shaking steels. Lin Feng's 2 incomplete heaven-shaking steels were activated. Previously, Lin Feng remembered the runes that appeared on the 2 incomplete heaven-shaking steels. He guessed that those runes were related to activating the heaven-shaking steels. Most importantly, after coming out of the southern immortal demon realm, Lin Feng did not have time to comprehend those runes at all. Therefore, Lin Feng was unable to activate the 2 incomplete heaven-shaking stone steels. In the face of the pursuit of more than 20 creatures in the black fog now, he could only flee. Despicable creature, you won't be able to escape. We'll kill you and take away your steel, a creature shrouded in black fog said sinisterly. Lin Feng's expression was gloomy. He didn't answer the creature in the black fog. He quickly flew into the distance. However, it was too difficult to escape from the creatures in the black fog while fleeing in the boundless ocean. The scene in front of him was simply despairing. Lin Feng knew this wasn't going to work, but he couldn't think of a way to get rid of the creature in the black fog. Lowly creature, no matter how you struggle, the result will be the same. A sinister voice came from behind. The creatures in the black fog all looked at Lin Feng with extremely cold expressions. What's with the pretense? You don't have much cultivation left. Lin Feng mocked. After hearing Lin Feng's mockery, the creatures in the black fog's expressions instantly turned gloomy. When the era began, their cultivation had reached the peak. Because they had survived the destruction of the era and arrived at the new era, they had obtained the majestic fate of the era. Therefore, their cultivation could be described as skyrocketing. However, as time passed, more and more powerful creatures appeared. Some of them displayed talents that made them fearful. They tried to destroy those creatures again and again, but they failed in the end. Later on, they were suppressed by an extremely powerful existence with the power of fate for many years. Many of them died. A small number of them survived. Their cultivation dropped drastically. This was the current situation of the creatures in the black fog. No matter how powerful they were in the past, they had now declined. However, they had a way to recover their former glory. The key was the heaven-shaking stone steel. Of course, the door of everlasting life and the supreme divine court could also help them recover. However, they didn't know where the door of everlasting life and the supreme divine court were. They placed all their hopes on the heaven-shaking stone steel. The heaven-shaking stone steel that they suppressed regained its freedom. Now, these creatures in the black fog had set their sights on Lin Feng. Although Lin Feng had an incomplete heaven-shaking stone steel. However, the creatures in the black fog had a way to use the incomplete heaven-shaking stone steel to find the complete one. Lin Feng was gradually caught up by the creatures in the black fog. His expression was extremely ugly because Lin Feng still hadn't thought of a way to get rid of these creatures. You will bid farewell to this world in 2 hours at most. A creature in the black fog said coldly. Lin Feng naturally knew that the current situation was extremely bad. His speed had increased a lot. However, he still couldn't avoid the pursuit of the creatures in the black fog. He was less than 1,000 meters away from the creatures in the black fog. He could be caught by the creatures in the black fog at any time. At this moment, a loud rumbling sound suddenly came from the void. Then, a huge ship flew out. That huge ship, it was surrounded by the curse power. It was actually the boat of curse. The crew on the boat of curse stood on the deck and looked at Lin Feng. Kid, why aren't you getting on the ship? If you don't get on the ship, you will die. The captain of the boat of curse said with a laugh. Lin Feng couldn't help but roll his eyes. He didn't expect the boat of curse to appear at this time. If he didn't get on the ship, he would die. If he got on the ship, he would rather die. Grandpa Martin walked out of the cabin and said with a smile, "Get on the ship. At least you can still live." After seeing Grandpa Martin, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel speechless. He had long guessed that Grandpa Martin wasn't a good person. It was just as he had guessed. This guy actually got together with the boat of curse. What? Did Grandpa Martin also become a part of the boat of curse? Lin Feng couldn't help but mock. No, it's just that Grandpa Martin became their military advisor. Grandpa Martin smiled. Lin Feng had no other choice. He quickly flew toward the boat of curse. Kill him? Dozens of creatures in the black fog had gloomy expressions. They began to attack, wanting to kill Lin Feng. At this moment, the boat of curse flew toward Lin Feng. Lin Feng boarded the boat of curse. The attacks from the creatures in the black fog were all blocked by the cursed light shield released by the boat of curse. "Hand that brat over, or all of you will die," said Lin Feng. Chapter 26-27. The creatures in the black fog all had monstrous dermic powers, and their eyes were cold. They surrounded the boat of curse. Lin Feng stood on the boat of curse and looked at the creatures in the black fog with an extremely cold gaze. If these guys had not been chasing him relentlessly, how could they have caught up with him? Lin Feng wished he could kill all these guys now. However, he did not have the ability to do so. However, it seemed that these creatures in the black fog were going to fight with the captain of the boat of curse. It would be best if both sides were injured, and he could find an opportunity to escape. Trying to escape? Since you've boarded the boat of curse, you should give up as soon as possible because your every move and thought can't be hidden from me. The captain of the boat of curse looked at Lin Feng, and the corners of his mouth curled up into a mocking smile. Now, Lin Feng finally knew why the rumor said that once one boarded the boat of curse, the cultivator could no longer leave the boat of curse. It seemed that the key factor was the captain of the boat of curse. When a cultivator boarded the boat of curse, no matter how powerful his cultivation level was, he would be suppressed by the captain of the boat of curse. Moreover, the actions of the cultivator who boarded the boat of curse could not be hidden from the captain of the boat of curse. This was also the reason why the cultivator could no longer get rid of the boat of curse after boarding it. Therefore, when Lin Feng had the idea of leaving the boat of curse, the captain of the boat of curse immediately knew about it. Unless one's cultivation level could suppress the captain of the boat of curse, they would never be able to escape. Master Martin patted Lin Feng's shoulder. He said with a smile, "Since you've boarded the boat of curse, behave yourself. We'll be very carefree on the boat of curse together." Lin Feng now had the urge to kill Master Martin with one punch. He had just boarded the boat of curse. However, as time went by, Lin Feng knew that his body was going to turn into a skeleton. When that time came, he would have to endure endless pain. He would not feel any joy. He would rather die. The captain of the boat of curse continued, "If you want to die, you can try to escape. Don't blame me for not giving you advice." Lin Feng's expression was gloomy, but he didn't say anything. He was well aware of how bad his current situation was. But now, he couldn't think of any way to escape from the boat of curse. Maybe I can use that thing. I just don't know if it's useful. Lin Feng thought of something. The captain of the boat of curse sneered and said, "It's useless. No matter what you use, you can't escape." The captain of the boat of curse obviously had absolute confidence in himself. The captain of the boat of curses didn't pay attention to them. He just kept talking to Lin Feng. The creature in the black fog was instantly enraged. The creature within the black fog was an arrogant existence. Now that they were being ignored like this, it would be strange if they were not angry. The creature in the black fog looked at the captain of the boat of curse fiercely. His eyes were flashing with killing intent. One of the creatures in the black fog said coldly, "Reckless things. It seems like I have to kill you lowly creatures today. Get lost. Otherwise, this place will become your burial ground." The captain of the boat of curse was very domineering. He looked indifferently at the creature in the black fog who spoke. His tone was filled with disdain. The creature in the black fog had an immortal body. Now that he had mastered a trace of the path of destiny, he naturally didn't fear the creature in the black fog. You're courting death. You're courting death. The creature in the black fog couldn't help but shout coldly. An endless amount of black fog was rolling. It flew toward the captain of the boat of curse. The creature in the black fog attacked the captain of the boat of curse. The captain of the boat of curse looked indifferent and punched the creature in the black fog. The creature in the black fog was so powerful that it directly broke the captain's fist technique. Then, the captain of the boat of curse was forced to retreat. However, he couldn't enter the boat of curse. He was blocked outside by the cursed light shield formed by the boat of curse. The creature in the black fog is so powerful. Lin Feng's expression was very gloomy. He originally thought that the captain of the boat of curse could easily defeat the creature in the black fog. He didn't expect this result. Too weak. I thought it was more powerful. Lin Feng couldn't help but curl his lips. Immediately, a crew member on the boat of curse sneered and said, "What do you know? The captain hasn't recovered his strength yet. He has only recovered less than 1/10,000th of his strength. Otherwise, he would be able to crush the creature in the black fog as easily as crushing an ant." Lin Feng curled his lips and said, "If you're weak, then you're weak. Why are you looking for excuses?" When the captain of the boat of curse heard Lin Feng's words, he had the urge to stomp Lin Feng to death. How dare Lin Feng say that his cultivation was weak? Do you know that you'll be killed in an instant if you fight the creature in the black fog with your measly cultivation? What right do you have to say that I'm weak? The captain of the boat of curse couldn't help but think viciously. He decided to show off his powerful strength. That grand Tao of fate, Lin Feng murmured. The captain of the boat of curse began to chant a mysterious and complicated incantation. It was the incantation of the great fate art. The captain of the boat of curse was summoning the power of fate. Boom! A terrifying aura emanated from the void. The aura descended from the sky and enveloped the area. It blasted toward the creature in the black fog. The terrifying power of the attack was simply too strong. The expression of the creature within the black fog changed drastically. It wanted to dodge, but it was already too late. It had no choice but to block the attack. However, the divine ability that the creature condensed was instantly broken. Then, the power of fate tore the creature's body in half. Blood splattered everywhere. The creature in the black fog died a miserable death. When Lin Feng saw that, he was astonished. The creature in the black fog was so powerful, but it was killed by the captain of the boat of curse with a single attack. Just how powerful was the attack from the captain of the boat of curse? It was simply unbelievable. Unbelievable. Lin Feng couldn't help but be deeply shocked. According to the previous crew member, the captain of the boat of curse's cultivation wasn't even 1/10,000th of his peak. However, Lin Feng could feel that. Even though the captain of the boat of curse was now the combat power that he displayed, he was definitely at the great emperor level. It was hard to imagine how powerful the captain of the boat of curse was when he was at his peak. Attack together and kill him. The creatures in the black fog roared furiously. Each of them was filled with killing intent. A terrifying aura emanated from their bodies. More than 20 creatures in the black fog attacked at the same time. Chapter 26-28. The combined attack of more than 20 living beings in the black fog was naturally a peerless and terrifying attack. Ordinary people would only feel despair when facing such a powerful attack. However, the captain of the boat of curses had used the great fate art. Although the captain of the boat of curses had only grasped a trace of the true essence of fate, it was enough. The great fate art was too powerful. The great destiny art was far too powerful, capable of ignoring all das and laws. When the captain of the boat of curses used the great fate art, this powerful divine ability displayed its terrifying might. With a loud rumble, a river of fate flew out. This was the river of fate summoned by the great fate art. All kinds of images appeared in the river of fate. It was like the images of billions of living beings in the mortal world. The lives of billions of living beings were recorded in the river of fate. This was the extraordinary part of the river of fate. It recorded the lives of all living beings. From appearance to destruction, the time was either very long or very short. The living beings in the black fog had their own destinies. Now, Their destinies appeared in the river of fate. They would be destroyed by the river of fate and turned into the dust of history. They were destined to never return to the peak. Lowly living beings, you foolishly thought you were noble. Today, I will represent the true essence of fate and let you see your lowly status. You are only fit to live in the darkness. You are destined to become a pile of bones. The captain of the boat of curses used an extremely ancient and mysterious language to sing. Every time he sang, a powerful energy surged in the void. It was the power of fate. Summoning the river of fate was a very powerful technique of the great fate art. Now that the captain of the boat of curses could summon the river of fate, it seemed that the captain of the boat of curses had a deeper understanding of the great fate art. Terrifying ripples swept through the world, shaking the void. Between the heavens and the universe, waves of power that shook the void were emitted. The river of fate formed by the great fate art enveloped the more than 20 living beings in the black fog. The living beings in the black fog were washed away by the power of the Tao of fate. Crack, crack, their bodies began to crack. No, no, no. The living beings in the black fog screamed in horror. They did not want to die. The longer they lived, the more they wanted to continue living. The longer he lived, the more he cherished his life. The longer one lived, the more one feared death. Therefore, the creatures in the black fog were extremely afraid of death. They even wanted to live for another era. It would be even better if they could live forever. They wanted to escape from the river of fate. But after a few tries, they all ended in failure. Why is it like this? The creatures in the black fog roared. They were extremely unwilling to die here. However, they were powerless to reverse the situation. Bang, bang, bang. One by one, the living beings in the black fog exploded, their bodies and souls destroyed. Too strong. Lin Feng was filled with shock. The combat power shown by the captain of the boat of curse was completely beyond Lin Feng's imagination. Fate. At that moment, Lin Feng heard the voice of the demon lord. The demon lord did not say much. He was probably worried that the captain of the cursed ship would find out. Lin Feng, on the other hand, was extremely shocked. The demon lord had said the word fate. In that case, the captain of the cursed ship should be using the path of fate. Lin Feng knew that the captain of the cursed ship had mastered a trace of the true meaning of fate. However, the voice of the captain of the cursed ship when he chanted the spell was in a language that he did not know. Therefore, Lin Feng did not know that the captain of the cursed ship was using the path of fate. The path of fate was indeed the number one great Tao. Its power was unimaginably terrifying. It would not take long. The 20 or so creatures in the black fog would probably all be killed. Bang, bang, bang. The bodies of the creatures in the black fog kept exploding. Soon, there were only 7 or 8 of them left. But obviously, the remaining 7 or 8 creatures in the black fog could not hold on for long. Crack, crack. Their bodies were also cracking. It seemed that the last 7 or 8 creatures in the black fog were about to die. However, at that moment, a powerful wave swept across the world. Then, a huge black claw grabbed at the river of fate. Bang! The pitch-black claw viciously clawed at the river of fate. Crack, crack. The river of fate began to crack. That pitch-black claw was simply too powerful. Lin Feng guessed that the owner of the black claw should also be a creature in the black fog. However, it was a leader among the creatures in the black fog. The pitch-black claw came down again. This time, the river of fate directly exploded. 7 or 8 creatures in the black fog escaped. My lord, please kill this person and avenge our fallen brothers. The creatures in the black fog all knelt in the void. The captain of the cursed ship narrowed his eyes and said with a cold smile, "Creatures from the previous era, I have an immortal body and control the path of fate. If you want to be enemies with me, you'd better think about how many people you'll lose." Humph. A cold snort came from the void. It should be the existence who had just attacked. A cloud of black fog spread out. It enveloped the creatures in the black fog. Then, the cloud of black fog quickly tore the void and disappeared without a trace. The creatures in the black fog left. Between heaven and earth, peace was restored. Lin Feng's expression was extremely ugly because he had completely boarded the pirate ship. He wanted to leave the cursed ship. It was simply an impossible task. Cough, cough. How about we make a deal? Lin Feng looked at the captain of the cursed ship and smiled embarrassedly. He wanted to negotiate with the captain of the cursed ship. He wanted to see what this guy would do to let him go. Don't even think about escaping. You'll be a crew member of this ancient ship forever until the moment you die. The captain of the cursed ship curled his lips into a cold smile. Hee hee hee. The rest of the crew also let out a burst of strange laughter. The captain of the cursed ship went into the cabin. The cursed ship headed toward the depths of the sea. He did not know where it was going. In the next half a month, Lin Feng tried to escape, but he did not succeed. The captain of the cursed ship knew his every move like the back of his hand. Therefore, he could not escape at all. Until one night after a month. Clang! With a violent collision sound, the cursed ship seemed to have hit something and stopped. Everyone rushed out. Chapter 26-29. Who are you? How dare you stop the boat of curses? Are you tired of living? One of the crew members shouted coldly. Lin Feng looked at him and realized that it was a man in his 30s. He looked extremely handsome and was wearing a cyan robe. He looked extremely ordinary. However, this person was able to stop the boat of curses. This was enough to show how terrifying this person was. The cultivator did not say anything in response to the crew member's rebuke. Perhaps he felt that the crew member was not qualified to talk to him, so he did not answer the crew member's question. Who are you? The captain of the ship of curse asked. The man's voice was indifferent. He was a man of few words. The captain did not know who Duguya was. However, when Lin Feng heard the name, he was filled with excitement. He was very excited. Duguya. He was actually Duguya. He had been searching for him for many years. He was his father's old friend. He had actually appeared. Uncle Duguya, I am Lin Feng. My father asked me to look for you. Lin Feng stood on the boat of curses and shouted. Duguya looked at Lin Feng. When he saw Lin Feng, a slight smile appeared on his cold face. Then, he looked at the captain and said, Let him down. The captain of the boat of curse sneered and said, No one can get off the boat of curse. Do you think I'll let him off just because you asked me to? Who do you think you are? What a joke. If you don't let him go, I'll tear your boat apart. Duguya raised his right hand and slashed out a beam of sword energy. The beam of sword energy was 1,000 meters long. It was like a Milky Way. It traversed heaven and earth. This guy thinks he's infallible. He wants to use a beam of sword energy to break the cursed barrier. Is he daydreaming? You'll know how foolish your actions are in a moment. The crew members on the boat of curses looked at Duguya with ridicule. They knew how powerful the cursed light shield of the ship of curses was. They didn't think that Duguya could break the cursed light shield of the boat of curse with just one sword chi. This person called Duguya actually dared to intercept the boat of curse. He was simply courting death. Even the living beings of the previous era were no match for the captain. What more this person? At this moment, even Lin Feng was extremely nervous. After the initial excitement, Lin Feng has now recovered. He knew how terrifying the captain of the boat of curse was. Therefore, he couldn't help but worry for Duguya. At this moment, Duguya's sword chi slashed down on the cursed light barrier. What happened next left everyone dumbfounded. Puff. A tearing sound could be heard. That cursed light barrier was actually torn into two halves. However, the terrifying sword chi did not dissipate. Instead, it slashed toward the boat of curse. Hurry up and dodge. The crew of the boat of curse screamed in horror. They didn't expect Duguya to be so powerful that he could tear apart the cursed light shield so easily. After such a long time, this was the first time they'd seen something like this. The captain of the boat of curse's face suddenly darkened. He quickly struck out and swept his fist toward the dazzling sword chi. Clang! It was accompanied by a sonorous and powerful sound of impact. The captain of the boat of curse blocked the sword chi that Duguya had just unleashed. Duguya walked step by step toward the boat of curse. All the crew members on the boat of curse felt a suffocating pressure. Lin Feng also looked at Duguya in shock. This was an old friend of his father's. He was actually so powerful. It was truly shocking. This was something that Lin Feng hadn't expected. Very good. You're a decent opponent. The captain of the boat of curse looked coldly at Duguya, then began to summon the river of fate again. O mighty river of fate, please descend and punish this lowly existence who dares to blaspheme fate. As the captain of the boat of curse's incantation fell, a loud rumbling sound once again resounded between heaven and earth. The river of fate quickly flew up and enveloped Duguya. The path of fate, the path of fate, Duguya muttered to himself. But then his expression turned indifferent. Unfortunately, your path of fate is only at the beginner level. 6. Paths of Reincarnation. Duguya's hands formed a series of seals. Behind him, 6 huge black holes appeared. The 6 black holes began to distort the entire world. It was as if it was about to become a distorted world. The 6 paths of reincarnation. It was unknown what sort of divine ability this was. When this divine ability was used, everyone felt as if they were about to fall into the cycle of reincarnation. The path of reincarnation? Lin Feng's heart seemed to be in turmoil. The great reincarnation art was the foundation of the path of reincarnation. However, the great reincarnation art wasn't the path of reincarnation with the strongest offensive power. There were tens of thousands of paths of reincarnation. Lin Feng sensed that the 6 paths of reincarnation Duguya had used, it should also be a type of path of reincarnation. Of course, he wasn't sure whether it was or not. After all, it was just Lin Feng's guess. When the 6 paths of reincarnation art was used, it was really shocking. The 6 distorted black holes seemed to be connected to the legendary 6 paths of reincarnation world. The river of fate was directly swallowed by the 6 distorted black holes. Oh my God! The captain's great reincarnation art was broken by that person. Screams of horror could be heard one after another. The crew members of the boat of curse were so scared that their faces turned pale. Impossible! The captain of the boat of curse couldn't believe what he was seeing. He roared in disbelief. There was actually someone in the world who could break the great reincarnation art. This was simply unbelievable. Rumble. A loud sound resounded through the world. The 6 huge black holes directly attacked the captain of the boat of curse. Fist of fate, break. The captain of the boat of curse roared. He swung his fist at the 6 black holes. Bang! Along with the sound of a violent collision, there was a loud sound. The body of the captain of the boat of curse exploded. Lin Feng quickly rushed out of the boat of curse. The 6 huge black holes bombarded the boat of curse. Bang! 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 The bodies of the crew members of the boat of curse all exploded. The boat of curse also began to crack. It couldn't withstand the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Run! Master Martin screamed in horror. But Master Martin couldn't escape. His body directly exploded. His body and soul were destroyed on the spot. Master Martin was caught in his own trap. He originally wanted to plot against Lin Feng, but now he died on the boat of curse. The next moment, the boat of curse was completely destroyed by the 6 black holes. The hull was completely fragmented. Chapter 26:30. Looking at the destroyed boat of curse, Lin Feng's heart was filled with deep shock. Duguya's cultivation was too terrifying. It was really hard to imagine. Looking at the starry sky, there were probably not many existences who could contend with Duguya, right? Uncle Dug, I've finally found you. Lin Feng looked at Duguya excitedly. Find Duguya. He would know where his mother was suppressed. This was an extremely important matter for Lin Feng. Save his mother. That was Lin Feng's goal. Now, for this goal, Lin Feng persevered and worked hard to cultivate and improve his cultivation. When I saw you back then, you were still in swaddling clothes. After so many years, it feels like a lifetime has passed. Duguya sighed and then said, Come back with me. Let's talk in detail. Lin Feng nodded. He left with Duguya. After Lin Feng and Duguya left, splashing sounds could be heard. The boat of curse that had sunk to the bottom of the sea rushed out again. At this time, the boat of curse had been restored to its original state. The boat of curse was also an immortal boat. Even if it was damaged, it could be quickly repaired. Even Lin Feng's Xinyuan ancient starship did not have the powerful repairability of the boat of curse. The boat of curse's powerful repairability might have something to do with it being cursed. The piles of bones on the boat of curse were reorganized. Black fog rolled. They turned into flesh and blood again. Why is this happening? Why is this happening? Grandpa Martin cried out in horror. He died on the boat of curse. His body and soul should have been destroyed. However, when he was killed, the power of curse poured into his remnant soul. In the end, Grandpa Martin also turned into a cursed creature and became a part of the boat of curse. Welcome the new member. The captain of the boat of curse looked at Grandpa Martin gloomily. Welcome the new member. Welcome the new member. Welcome the new member. Many crew members shouted, full of excitement. The boat of curse welcomed a new crew member. The crew members were in high spirits. Endless enmity shot out from Grandpa Martin's eyes. Duguya, Lin Feng, you've caused me so much pain. Grandpa Martin will sooner or later let you die without a burial ground. There's a saying that goes, those who are unjust are doomed to destruction. Grandpa Martin could only blame himself for ending up like this. However, Grandpa Martin blamed Duguya and Lin Feng for his current predicament. Captain, what should we do now? That Duguya is too formidable, and we're probably unable to make a move against that kid. One of the crew members said. The captain of the boat of curse looked gloomy. He said, when a poisonous snake hunts its prey, it will hide and not move. It will look for a golden opportunity and then kill it with one strike. Don't worry. Let's continue to wait for an opportunity. If a baby eagle doesn't try to fly again and again, how can it fly to the ninth heaven? An expert like Duguya naturally understood this logic. Since he understood it, he would not continue to follow that brat. Otherwise, how could that brat grow? Therefore, we will have plenty of opportunities. Captain is wise. The crew members immediately cheered. Rumble. The boat of curse emitted a series of sounds that crushed the void. The boat of curse tore through the void and disappeared without a trace. No one knew where it went. Southern Immortal Sea, Chaotic Spirit Ocean Duguya's cave abode. This was where Duguya cultivated in seclusion. The layout was very simple. Lin Feng followed Duguya into the cave abode. Lin Feng had countless questions for Duguya. Duguya said, I know you have a lot of questions in your heart. You can ask anything you want to know about your father and mother. Where is my mother being suppressed? Lin Feng asked. She's being suppressed in the falling immortal starfield. It's an extremely dangerous place in the depths of the starry sky world. That place is also the main camp of the creatures in the black fog. Duguya said, why did the creatures of the previous era suppress my mother? Lin Feng asked with a gloomy expression. I'm not particularly sure about that, Duguya said. Uncle Dugu, do you have an ancient starry sky map that leads to that starry sky? Lin Feng asked. Duguya shook his head and said, I don't have it here, but it's said that you can find it in the Undying Realm. The Undying Realm. Lin Feng narrowed his eyes. The Undying Realm. The Undying Realm again. It seemed that he had to find a time to go there. I know you want to save your mother, but what you need to do now is to raise your cultivation base. Duguya said, my father has already gone to save my mother, but he had just recovered. I'm afraid that he'll suffer a calamity. Lin Feng voiced his worries. Your father's body is indeed very problematic, Duguya said with a sigh. In Lin Feng's memory, his father had always been sick and had been tormented by an illness. It was only later that Lin Feng learned that his father had once been a god. Lin Feng realized that he knew very little about his father. He had many questions to ask Duguya. What kind of person is my father? Lin Feng asked. Duguya said, your father was a heroic and charismatic person. I remember that the first time we met was in the demon realm. At that time, I got to know your father, and it was also in the demon realm that I got to know your mother. Devil realm, Lin Feng muttered to himself. It was one of the top 7 great worlds among the 3,000 great worlds. In the devil realm, experts were as common as clouds. How is my father's cultivation base? Lin Feng asked. This was a topic that he was very concerned about. He felt that his father must have been very powerful back then, but as for what kind of cultivation base, Lin Feng couldn't determine. How much do you know about your father? Duguya asked. Lin Feng said, ever since I could remember, my father had always been injured. His meridians were all broken. Later on, a friend of mine refined spirit liquid and healed my father's injuries. After he recovered, he left the clan, saying that he was going to save my mother. He then told me to find you and follow you in cultivation. Duguya said, "Actually, your father's injuries weren't healed by the spiritual liquid your friend refined. The reason why he said that was because he hoped to give you the confidence to cultivate the Tao. He wanted you to know how important it is to become a powerful cultivator and master all kinds of powerful auxiliary professions. You can even save the lives of your loved ones." Hearing Duguya's words, Lin Feng fell silent. He felt that it was possible. He had been very young back then. There were many things that his father couldn't tell him, because at that age, if he suddenly knew too many things, his mind wouldn't be able to take it. Chapter 26:31. While your father was training, he obtained a fortuitous encounter and awakened his bloodline 9 times. Duguya said, "What, 9 times?" Lin Feng was stupefied. His face was filled with astonishment. One had to know that he had only awakened his bloodline once. The second bloodline awakening was called a deep awakening, and Lin Feng had yet to awaken his bloodline a second time. His father had actually awakened his bloodline 9 times. Every time his bloodline awakened, he would awaken many terrifying abilities, and his cultivation would also increase greatly. It was hard to imagine how many shocking abilities his father had grasped after awakening his bloodline 9 times. The most shocking thing isn't the 9th bloodline awakening, but another ability, Duguya said. Another ability? Lin Feng looked at Duguya in confusion. His eyes lit up, and he said, "Could it be that my father has another bloodline? When your father was born, he held a rune of destiny in his hand. His bloodline was the undying divine blood, but that rune of destiny bestowed a second bloodline, called the destiny bloodline. That's why, when many experts were fighting for supremacy, your father was unstoppable despite his young age, and was known as the Child of Destiny." Duguya said, "Child of Destiny, Child of Destiny." Lin Feng muttered the words, "Child of Destiny." The word destiny was too extraordinary. It was too inconceivable. The Child of Destiny seemed to have been blessed by the heavens. He was destined to have an extraordinary life. Is it related to the Tao of Destiny? Lin Feng asked. "It's related," Duguya said. "It's said that in every epoch, a child of destiny will be born. Such a person will shoulder the responsibility of resisting the Armageddon War." Duguya said, "Your father is the leader of this epoch's resistance against the Armageddon War. However, he never expected that someone from the previous epoch would make a move and try to kill your father in advance. Why would they do that?" Lin Feng asked with a gloomy expression. "They want the epoch to be destroyed." Duguya sighed. The creatures of the previous era already had the experience of surviving the destruction of an era. When this era is destroyed and a new era is born, they will be able to obtain great benefits. Therefore, the creatures of the previous era are looking forward to the destruction of an era and the birth of a new era. When the new era is born, they will be able to obtain endless benefits. At that time, they will be able to live for another era. Duguya said, "So, they wanted to kill my father? Let this era be completely destroyed? Countless living beings died in the calamity that destroyed the epoch?" Lin Feng asked. "That's right. That was indeed their plan. The living beings of the last era wouldn't care about the life and death of others. Even if the universe was destroyed and countless living beings perished, what did that have to do with them? They only think about themselves." Duguya said, "Every man for himself, the heavens and earth will punish him." Many people took this sentence as a philosophy, but in Lin Feng's eyes, this was a crooked idea. Living in this world, people can't just live for themselves. We have to have family, love, and friendship. If we only live for ourselves, it would be too selfish. However, there are many selfish people in this world. Duguya continued, "Your father was planted with a demonic seed. His body was almost destroyed, but he managed to suppress the demonic seed for the time being. Therefore, your father is actually in a very dangerous situation. Once the demonic seed awakens again, he might lose himself. They have already destroyed your father. Now, They are waiting for your father to rescue your mother. When the time comes, they will be able to kill your father once and for all. Doesn't that mean my father is in a very dangerous situation? Lin Feng's expression was extremely ugly and anxious. However, he felt a deep sense of helplessness. His cultivation was too weak. He couldn't help at all. This is your father's origin spirit lamp. Duguya took out an ancient lamp. The flame burned brightly. Lin Feng let out a long breath. His father was still alive. Although your father was planted with a demonic seed, I don't think the demonic seed will awaken anytime soon. Given your father's intelligence, I don't think he will act rashly. He will think of a way to recover his strength and save your mother because he knows that if the rescue fails, he will die and your mother will be killed as well. Duguya said, I need to raise my cultivation. I need to raise my cultivation quickly so that I can help my father get rid of the demonic seed in his body and save my mother with him. Lin Feng said through gritted teeth. Lin Feng wanted nothing more than to kill all the living beings from the previous epoch. Only then would he be able to quell his anger and killing intent. Everything has to be done step by step. Do you understand this principle? Duguya looked at Lin Feng. Lin Feng understood the meaning behind Duguya's words. He nodded. I understand. Lin Feng took a deep breath and said, Uncle Dugu, can we talk about my mother and uncle? Your mother and uncle are descendants of the sovereign emperor clan. I witnessed the love between your mother and father, and I also witnessed your birth. When the living beings from the previous epoch attacked, you were born. Duguya sighed. Duguya sighed. At that time, more than a dozen of us were there. We were all your father's best friends and followers. That battle was too tragic. Your father was ambushed and planted with a demonic seed. At that time, he had already turned demonic. We broke out of the encirclement, but in the end, we were unable to withstand the attacks of the creatures from the previous era. During the process of breaking out, your mother was injured and captured. We were chased all the way. Later on, your father woke up, but the demonic seed nearly destroyed his body. Before we arrived at the 9 provinces, they caught up to us again. Your uncle brought up the rear with a few others, while I brought your father and you back to the 9 provinces. Later on, your uncle and a few others were killed. Uncle and the other seniors died in the cold starry sky. Just like that, Lin Feng clenched his fists. He felt like his chest was about to explode. This was an unforgettable hatred. If he didn't kill the living beings from the previous epoch, he wouldn't be human. With my father's cultivation and his grasp of the Tao of Destiny, who could possibly plot against him? Lin Feng's expression was gloomy. Terrifying person. He hid his identity and hid by your father's side. Duguya said. Who is he? Lin Feng asked through gritted teeth. Clearly, that person had gained his father's trust. Otherwise, he wouldn't have been able to plot against his father. If it wasn't for that person, his mother might not have been suppressed, and his uncle and the other seniors might not have died so tragically. His father wouldn't have been planted with a demonic seed. The culprit behind all of this was that person. Duguya's eyes flashed with dense killing intent. The son of the celestial emperor, Di Wudao. Chapter 2632. Di Wudao. Di Wudao. Lin Feng muttered the name, his fingernails digging into his flesh. This person really deserved to be killed. Lin Feng wanted to cut Di Wudao into pieces. He wanted to avenge his father, his mother, his uncle, and all the other elders who had died. However, Lin Feng knew that his cultivation was far from enough. Di Wudao was the son of the celestial emperor. Who knew how terrifying his cultivation would be? Lin Feng wanted to become stronger. Only with enough strength could he kill Di Wudao. One could imagine how difficult it would be to kill Di Wudao in the future. Once he killed Di Wudao, it would cause a huge commotion. He would definitely become the enemy of the celestial emperor. He might even become the enemy of the entire undying world. After all, the celestial emperor was the leader of the undying world. So what if he became the enemy of the celestial emperor and the undying world? Di Wudao. He would definitely kill him. Uncle Dugu, I want to raise my cultivation as soon as possible. Is there any way for me to raise my cultivation as soon as possible? Lin Feng asked Duguya. Duguya's 6 paths of reincarnation had instantly killed the captain of the boat of curses and destroyed it. It was clear how powerful Duguya was. Back then, his father had told him to find Duguya and cultivate under him. It was not without reason. Duguya said, "I know you're eager to raise your cultivation, but your cultivation hasn't stabilized yet. Cultivate here for 3 months first. After 3 months, I'll send you to a place where you'll be able to obtain great training. Of course, that place is also incomparably dangerous. If you're not careful, you might die there. So right now, you need to properly adjust your state and prepare to head to that dangerous place to cultivate." Okay, Lin Feng nodded. For the next 3 months, Lin Feng cultivated in Duguya's cave. These 3 months were extremely important to Lin Feng. For many Daos that he did not understand, Lin Feng would consult Duguya. With Duguya's cultivation level, it wasn't difficult for him to give Lin Feng pointers. Therefore, during those 3 months, Lin Feng had become extremely strong. Lin Feng benefited greatly, while Lin Feng was in seclusion. The outside world, however, was not calm at all. After the foreign creature recovered from its injuries, it left the southern immortal devil realm and entered the southern immortal sea domain. The blood-winged heavenly wolf clan's top-level experts went to kill the foreign creatures. This was because the blood-winged heavenly wolf clan cultivators suspected that Long Chinya was killed by the foreign creatures. Long Chinya was a heaven-defying genius of the blood-winged heavenly wolf clan. He was the hope of the blood-winged heavenly wolf clan's future. The blood-winged heavenly wolf clan was still waiting for Long Chinya to mature and lead the blood-winged heavenly wolf clan to new glory. However, Long Chinya was killed before he could grow. The blood-winged heavenly wolf clan was naturally furious. Right now, the blood-winged heavenly wolf clan's cultivators really wanted to tear these foreign creatures into 10,000 pieces. After being surrounded by the blood-winged heavenly wolf clan's experts, the foreign creature still had an indifferent expression. "I didn't kill Long Chinya," the foreign creature said coldly. The blood-winged heavenly wolf clan's cultivators didn't listen to the foreign creature's explanation at all. After a great battle, the foreign creature had killed 5 great experts of the blood-winged heavenly wolf clan. The remaining 4 blood-winged heavenly wolf clan experts were also injured. The foreign creature's cultivation was too terrifying. He killed until the blood-winged heavenly wolf clan's cultivators trembled in fear. The foreign creature did not continue to attack the other 4 surviving blood-winged heavenly wolf clan cultivators. He said with an indifferent expression, "If my guess is correct, Long Chinya should have been killed by Lin Feng." The foreign creature's words caused a huge uproar. Some people doubted the authenticity of this matter, but many people believed that it was true. This was because the foreign creature was very arrogant. Such an existence would definitely not lie. There was no need to lie. Long Chinya was a heaven-defying genius, but he actually died at the hands of Lin Feng. Just how powerful is Lin Feng's cultivation? That's right. It's really hard to imagine how terrifying Lin Feng's cultivation is. If Lin Feng can kill Long Chinya, among the heaven-defying geniuses of the myriad races, there are probably less than 10 people who can contend against Lin Feng. Countless people were talking about this matter. The cultivators of the 9 provinces were naturally overjoyed. The cultivators of the myriad races had gloomy expressions. Lin Feng had become the public enemy of the myriad races. The cultivators of the myriad races couldn't wait to cut Lin Feng into 1,000 pieces. The blood-winged heavenly wolf clan began to search for Lin Feng's whereabouts. The myriad races also helped the blood-winged heavenly wolf clan search for Lin Feng's whereabouts. However, Lin Feng was currently in seclusion in Duguya's cave abode. Therefore, no matter how they searched for Lin Feng's whereabouts, they couldn't find any clues. The foreign creatures were also searching for Lin Feng's whereabouts. This was because they hated Lin Feng to the core and wanted to eat Lin Feng. Southern Immortal Devil Realm. Great Desolate Devil Mountain. This was an extremely dangerous place. It was said that a devil emperor was once buried here. This place even formed a magnetic field. Once one entered, it was very easy to get lost. In the end, he died and his Tao vanished. In the depths of the Great Desolate Devil Mountain, there was a pool of blood. A cultivator was lying in the pool of blood. It was Gongziyu. Previously, Gongziyu had been seriously injured by Gongzini. Although Gongziyu had used the magic lotus to escape, Gongziyu had suffered extremely serious injuries. That kind of injury had caused him to fall into a coma. The magic lotus brought Gongziyu to the pool of blood. It was the ancient blood of the emperor. The blood of the holy emperor. Gongziyu had been lying inside for 3 months. Every day, his body was nourished by the blood of the holy emperor. Gongziyu's body quickly recovered, but he did not wake up. For Gongziyu, this could be said to be a great opportunity. In his slumber, he had obtained the inheritance of the fallen emperor. Swoosh, swoosh. Suddenly, Gongziyu opened his eyes. His eyes became incomparably deep. His body slowly floated up from the pool of blood. In the end, Gongziyu's body floated in the air. Then, the blood in the pool of blood quickly flew up. The blood all flowed into Gongziyu's body. All the blood. It was all absorbed by Gongziyu. In the end, it turned into the blood in Gongziyu's body. A terrifying aura was emitted from Gongziyu's body. Gongziyu had completed an important transformation. He had obtained the inheritance of the fallen emperor. He had devoured the blood of the holy emperor. Gongziyu's cultivation. It had increased greatly. The heavens have not left me, Gongziyu muttered to himself. He quickly soared into the sky and flew out of the great desolate demon mountain. Within the southern immortal demon realm, it was still very lively. Many people had obtained great opportunities. For example, the great demon god, Little Donkey, Fatso, Demon Blood, by Wanyu, and others. Gongzi Nia of the myriad races, Nalan Hanyue, Huang Yinma, the son of the Sky Demon Emperor, and others had also obtained great opportunities. The creatures in the black fog and the foreign creatures walked out of the southern immortal demon realm and began to recruit forces in the 9 provinces. Chapter 26:33. Now, the 9 regions had become very chaotic. First of all, the native forces of the 9 regions. In addition, there were the forces of the myriad races, the forces of the outer realms, the creatures in the black fog, and so on. They all wanted to occupy a place in the 9 regions. There was a reason why these forces valued the 9 regions so much. The current 9 regions had indeed declined. However, in the past, the 9 regions was an amazing place. Pengu, Nuwa, Zhurong, Gonggong, the 12 ancestral shamans, and so on. They were all innate life forms who had awakened from the 9 regions. The 9 regions was also a holy land for cultivation at that time, and it was said that the 9 regions was the starting point of the myriad worlds. It meant that the 9 regions was the first great world to appear in the myriad worlds. That was why it could be called the origin of the myriad worlds. Therefore, the 9 regions was once a holy land for cultivation. Even the immortal race and celestial race who were now informing the heaven realm had entered the heaven realm from the 9 regions. Because the immortal race and celestial race were the earliest human races. However, after the human race was divided, they no longer admitted that they were humans. Now, the 5 decay of the celestial race had appeared. Next was the destruction of the era. As the saying goes, if you want to kill someone, you must first make them crazy. The 9 regions was now in an era where cultivation was declining. Before the destruction of the era, there would definitely be a golden age of cultivation. And this golden age of cultivation would begin in the 9 regions. It would quickly spread to the myriad worlds. The most dazzling era of cultivation was about to arrive. This was the last golden age of cultivation before the destruction of the era. The people from the major powers also saw this point, so they started to make arrangements. They would establish their own forces in the 9 regions. Then, they would wait for the golden age of cultivation to arrive. Lin Feng could even not leave the 9 regions. He could wait for the golden age of cultivation to arrive in the 9 regions. Once the golden age of cultivation arrived, countless opportunities would descend. In the 9 regions, he could also become an emperor or an immortal. But obviously, Lin Feng could not stay in the 9 regions forever, because he was shouldering many responsibilities. Rescuing his mother, looking for his kidnapped clansmen, every task. They were all extremely important. But obviously, these tasks were important to Lin Feng. They were all extremely difficult. This also meant that he would soon leave the 9 regions and head to a wider world to improve his cultivation. Lin Feng couldn't wait for the golden age of cultivation to arrive. 9 regions began to fall into chaos during this time. As for Lin Feng, he followed Duguya to the cultivation grounds, the southernmost part of the southern Immortal Sea domain. This was an endless world of glaciers. It was extremely cold. In the depths of the glacier world, it was the famous Aurora Crack of the 9 States world. That place was filled with the power of destruction. Huge space-time rifts connected many mysterious worlds. That kind of place was untouchable. Once one entered, they might not be able to come out again. First, it was very likely that it would be destroyed by the space-time energy. Secondly, it was very likely that he would enter another unknown world. Many unknown worlds were desolate worlds, and no one knew which corner of the starry sky world they were in. Once he fell into it, it was very likely that he would never come out again. The training ground is a mysterious space. There are many opportunities in this space. The biggest secret is the path to heaven. The path to heaven is connected to the undying world, heaven realm, underworld, chaos, Xinhuang world, and other worlds. Duguya said, "There's such a place?" Lin Feng's face was filled with shock. He said, "If it's connected to so many worlds, doesn't that mean one can enter another world through the immortal path to heaven?" Duguya said, "That space is very special. At present, only the soul can descend there. After the soul descends, it will transform into a complete body. In that space, if one's cultivation breaks through in the real world, it will also break through in the real world. However, if one dies there, they will also die in the real world." Hearing Duguya's words, Lin Feng could not help but be shocked. That space was truly a strange place. If only the soul could descend there. Naturally, one would not be able to enter another world through the immortal path to heaven. Once the connection between the soul and the physical body was severed, the soul would scatter, and one would die without a burial place. Lin Feng said, "How can I return to the real world?" Duguya said, "I will use my great power to send you there. For the next year, you can cultivate there, and you can also spar with the young experts of various worlds. After a year, I will connect to that mysterious space again and bring you out, allowing your soul to return." "All right, then I'll have to trouble Uncle Dug," Lin Feng said. Duguya smiled and said, "There's no need to be so courteous between uncle and nephew. Come with me. I've opened a dojo in a parallel space, and it's perfect for storing your physical body. During this year, I will protect your physical body." Duguya flew toward the space-time rift. Lin Feng followed closely behind. Soon, they entered the space-time rift. Lin Feng followed Duguya into the parallel space. There was a dojo that Duguya had created. The dojo covered a huge dojo. The dojo was covered with many formation runes, and those runes were extremely powerful. Lin Feng guessed that those formation runes were related to entering that mysterious space. "Sit at the center of the dojo." Duguya looked at Lin Feng and said, "Yes," Lin Feng replied. Then, he went to the center of the dojo and sat down. Duguya then activated the dojo. All of the formation runes were activated. Waves of sacred light surged out, enveloping Lin Feng within. Then, Lin Feng felt his soul leave his body. He was enveloped by sacred light. The next moment, the sacred light tore through the void and disappeared. After a moment of dizziness, the sacred light descended into a mysterious space. This space was extremely unstable, and the power of space-time was everywhere. The immortal path to heaven was one of this space's greatest secrets, but it wasn't the only secret. There were many other extraordinary places in this space. The sacred light gradually dissipated. Lin Feng's soul transformed into a perfect body. This perfect body was almost exactly the same as his. Lin Feng couldn't help but sigh with emotion. This space was truly miraculous. To be able to condense such a perfect body, it was practically no different from a real body. It was truly inconceivable. Suddenly, a gust of wind swept through the world. A huge bird of prey flew over from afar. That ferocious bird had the body of an eagle, but it had 9 wolf heads. It was unknown what race it was. Chapter 26:34. What kind of monster is this? Lin Feng couldn't help but shout as he hurriedly dodged the monster's attack. The ferocious bird was extremely fast, and its reaction was also extremely fast. The moment Lin Feng dodged its attack, the ferocious bird opened its bloody mouth. Then, each of its bloody mouths spat out a ball of energy. The power of the ball of energy was extremely terrifying. It was as if it could destroy the world. One by one, the balls of energy exploded. Lin Feng was sent flying by the explosion. He didn't know how many bones in his body were broken. His body was covered in wounds and dripping with blood. The situation was really bad. Damn, so powerful. Lin Feng's face was about to turn green. The ferocious bird he encountered when he just entered was actually so powerful and terrifying. He didn't know if it was because the birds and beasts in this place were so powerful, or because he was just unlucky to encounter an unusually powerful ferocious bird. The ferocious bird quickly changed its direction and pounced on Lin Feng again. Its wings flapped in the void. In an instant, the void seemed to be on the verge of collapsing. The ferocious bird displayed shocking attack power. Lin Feng quickly retreated, constantly dodging the ferocious bird's attacks. However, no matter how he dodged the ferocious bird's attacks, he couldn't shake off the ferocious bird. "You really think I'm a sick cat if I don't show my power?" Lin Feng shouted fiercely, then took the initiative to attack the ferocious bird. The two sides fought fiercely for thousands of rounds. Lin Feng's injuries were very serious, but he succeeded in killing the ferocious bird. This made Lin Feng sigh in relief. Lin Feng activated his immortal divine body, and his injuries quickly recovered. Then, he carried the ferocious bird and quickly rushed into the distance. Next to a pond, there was a beautiful scenery with a waterfall. Lin Feng took a bath to his heart's content. Then, he dissected the ferocious bird and cleaned it up. He then cut off the 9 wolf heads and threw them to the side. Next, he set up a bonfire and began to cook delicious barbecue. 2 hours later, the smell of meat assailed his nostrils. It was really appetizing. "Let's fill our stomachs first." Lin Feng started gobbling down the meat and drinking the wine. He had been cultivating with Duguya for the past few months. An expert at Duguya's level didn't need much food. Therefore, Lin Feng was too embarrassed to cook all kinds of delicacies in Duguya's cave. Therefore, during this period of time, Lin Feng was extremely hungry. Now, Lin Feng could finally enjoy the delicacies. After a full meal, Lin Feng rested for a while and then began to walk through this huge space. The biggest secret of this space was the heavenly immortal path. Of course, Lin Feng didn't know where this heavenly immortal path was. He needed to find it himself. One day later, Lin Feng saw more than 10 cultivators. The group of cultivators also saw Lin Feng. "Brat, come here." One of the young cultivators stretched out his right hand, beckoning Lin Feng over. Lin Feng couldn't help but feel disgusted by that arrogant and haughty attitude. Those people probably came from another world. Lin Feng wasn't very clear about their origins. Of course, Lin Feng wasn't interested in their origins. Now, Lin Feng's thoughts were on finding opportunities, the heavenly immortal path, and increasing his cultivation. Lin Feng still hoped to greatly increase his cultivation here. Lin Feng's goal was to break through to the giant god realm. He hoped to be able to do it on the heavenly immortal path. With Lin Feng's accumulation, once he broke through to the giant god realm, he would be invincible. Even those high-level quasi-emperors could be easily killed. He didn't pay attention to that cultivator. Instead, he flew into the distance. The young cultivator's face immediately turned gloomy. He waved his hand, and then quickly flew toward Lin Feng with a group of companions. Soon, they blocked Lin Feng's path. "Brat, didn't you hear me when I told you to go over?" A cold light flashed in the young cultivator's eyes. Lin Feng said indifferently, "So what if I heard? So what if I didn't hear? Do you need something from me? If you need something from me, you should be the one coming over." "Brat, you're quite arrogant." The young cultivator looked at Lin Feng with a gloomy expression. He already had the intention to kill Lin Feng. The cultivators in this space all came from different worlds. Therefore, there was no need to care about anything. If there was a disagreement, they could just directly kill him. "Get lost. Don't you know that a good dog doesn't block the way?" Lin Feng said with a sneer. This sentence caused an uproar. The group of cultivators looked at Lin Feng with more and more sinister eyes. Arrogant. You dare to be so arrogant in front of us? You're simply courting death. Brat, have you thought about how you're going to die? The group of cultivators looked at Lin Feng fiercely. Everyone looked at Lin Feng as if they were looking at a dead man. Those who could enter this world clearly had extraordinary forces behind them. Therefore, these cultivators knew that anyone who could enter this place had mastered many powerful divine abilities. It was impossible to bring storage rings or magic treasures into this space. Therefore, the only things one could obtain from other cultivators were divine abilities. Of course, the allure of a divine ability was much greater than that of a magic treasure. In such a place, it was very dangerous to be alone. Therefore, when this group of people saw that Lin Feng was alone, they already had the intention to kill Lin Feng. However, they didn't expect that, surprisingly, Lin Feng was acting so arrogantly. He didn't put them in his eyes at all. A bunch of trash dares to jump around in front of me? Who gave you the courage? Lin Feng curled his lips and asked. Lin Feng's personality had always been strong. Although Lin Feng didn't take the initiative to provoke others, if anyone provoked him, Lin Feng would definitely not tolerate it. Brat, you're courting death. Kill this brat. A group of cultivators glared at Lin Feng with murderous intent. In the distance, many cultivators were also looking over. However, those cultivators were basically gathered in groups. Very few of them were alone. Obviously, the cultivators here had formed teams. It was safer to act together. Aren't those people from the Yin-Yang world? Those guys are very arrogant. The Yin-Yang world is ranked 11th among the 3,000 worlds. There are many experts there. That brat is alone. Now that he has been targeted by the cultivators of the Yin-Yang world, I'm afraid he's going to die. Seeing that group of cultivators attacking Lin Feng, many people suddenly exclaimed. They looked at Lin Feng as if they were looking at a dead man. Chapter 26:35. The Yin-Yang Great World was said to be a great world evolved from the great Tao of Yin and Yang. The cultivators born in this world were very special. It was said that the cultivators of this world would form a Yin-Yang fish in their dantian. This Yin-Yang fish could absorb Yin-Yang chi day and night to improve their cultivation. This Yin-Yang fish was very similar to the martial soul of the human cultivators of 9 provinces. There were tens of thousands of martial souls. There were also tens of thousands of Yin-Yang fish. Boom, boom, boom. A terrifying aura filled the void. A group of cultivators from the Yin-Yang Great World launched a violent attack on Lin Feng. Each of their attacks was extremely ruthless. They were all aiming to take Lin Feng's life. These people originally wanted to capture Lin Feng and interrogate him about the divine powers he had learned. However, they no longer had the mood to do so. They were only thinking about how to torture Lin Feng. Watching Lin Feng die tragically in front of them was what they wanted to do the most. Even ants drag out their lives. You bunch of trash are courting death. Lin Feng curled his lips with a disdainful expression. That guy is really arrogant. Many people sighed with emotion. A thought suddenly appeared in many people's minds. That brat might really be very powerful, right? Otherwise, how could he be so arrogant? Those who were powerful were arrogant. That was not arrogant. That was domineering. That was domineering. Boom. Lin Feng's body emitted a powerful aura. He directly used the epic domineering aura to envelop everyone. After being enveloped by the epic domineering aura, the cultivators felt as if they had fallen into a quagmire, and their speed decreased sharply. Lin Feng, on the other hand, raised his right hand as if he was taking a stroll in the park and slashed out one sword chi after another. Puff, puff, puff. Next, heads flew into the sky one after another. Blood spurted out. One cultivator after another was killed under Lin Feng's attack without even having the strength to resist. Oh my god, he's so strong? The group of people in the Yin-Yang world have kicked an iron plate. With such powerful cultivation, they are actually active in the peripheral area. That guy is pretending to be a pig to eat a tiger. Many people couldn't help but cry out in surprise, looking at Lin Feng with eyes full of deep shock. The strength that Lin Feng displayed was too terrifying. It shocked many people. and made many people feel as if there were raging waves in their hearts. "Spare us. We have eyes but failed to recognize Mount Tai. Please spare us, young master," the remaining cultivators begged. "A bunch of ants dares to provoke me? How can I forgive you?" Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. Streams of sword chi continued to slash out. Puff, puff, puff. Heads fell to the ground one after another. "We are from the Inyang world. If you kill us, the 5 masters of the Inyang world will definitely kill you to avenge us," a cultivator shouted, wanting to threaten Lin Feng. "I'll wait for the arrival of the 5 great experts. When the time comes, I'll kill them all." Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. A stream of sword chi slashed out, killing all the cultivators who spoke. Soon, more than a dozen cultivators from the Inyang world were killed by Lin Feng. These cultivators were the physical bodies condensed from the laws of heaven and earth in this space. Therefore, after they were killed, their physical bodies disappeared. Only the purest soul origin was left. After killing these people, Lin Feng directly devoured their soul origin. Ever since Lin Feng's soul entered the quasi-emperor realm, it had become extremely difficult for it to improve. However, after devouring the soul power of these cultivators, Lin Feng realized that his soul strength had increased by quite a bit. Lin Feng used the soul-searching technique to search the soul memories of these cultivators. He obtained a lot of information from these cultivators' souls, including information about the 5 great experts and many things about the Inyang world. At the same time, he also obtained many magic skills that these cultivators cultivated. These people actually cultivated the Great Inyang Technique, one of the 3,000 Great Daos. In addition to the Great Inyang Technique, they also cultivated many powerful magic skills. Unfortunately, they did not cultivate the other 3,000 Great Daos. A single Dao. Lin Feng couldn't help but frown slightly. There were many types of Dao validation. Cultivators of the 9 provinces usually cultivated as many of the 3,000 Great Daos as possible as the foundation for identifying Great Daos. However, there were also some worlds that didn't cultivate like this. They cultivated a single Dao. They cultivated this Dao to the extreme. No matter which method, one could achieve extraordinary results. "Brother, our team has information about several cave abodes. If you join our team, we can share the treasures with everyone." "Young master, would you like to join my team? You see, there are so many beauties here. Many of them are secretly in love with you and can let you do whatever you want." Seeing how powerful Lin Feng was, many people surrounded him. One by one, the teams sent out invitations to Lin Feng. Some teams offered great benefits. Some teams wanted to use beauty to seduce Lin Feng. However, Lin Feng was unmoved. He said, "I'm sorry, everyone. I don't have any plans to join other teams. I'm used to being alone." Lin Feng cupped his fists and quickly left. "What a pity, what a pity. If we could recruit this person, we would be like a tiger that had grown wings." Many people felt that it was a pity. After Lin Feng left, he rushed towards the depths of this space. When he was searching the memories of that group of cultivators, he found a very important piece of information. This group of people had discovered a mysterious place. However, that mysterious place was densely covered with restrictions, and they were unable to enter. Therefore, they planned to find some helpers. Through those people's memories, Lin Feng knew that this space was full of opportunities. The more dangerous a place was, the more extraordinary the opportunities would be. Therefore, Lin Feng felt that the place in the memories of this group of cultivators might be hiding some secrets. That area was in the depths of an ancient forest. 3 days later, Lin Feng arrived at that place. He saw a world of rolling black fog in the depths of the ancient forest. A gloomy aura spread out from it. Powerful restrictions caused the void in the area covered by the black fog to distort. That area was indeed very dangerous. Wanting to pass through that area was not an easy task. However, Lin Feng was proficient in formations. He successfully passed through that very dangerous area. After passing through the restriction, they saw 7 huge mountains that rose and fell in front of them. At the center of the mountains, there was an ancient tree. It was unknown what kind of ancient tree it was. The huge tree was 30,000 meters tall. Its branches extended out and covered an area of 15 kilometers. Such a big tree? What kind of tree is this? Lin Feng looked at the ancient tree from afar. His heart was filled with shock. Such a huge ancient tree definitely hid a shocking secret. Chapter 2636. The woman was dressed in white, and she looked like a fairy. Her sword was like a white rainbow streaking across the sky, stabbing towards Lin Feng. It was extremely powerful. Lin Feng quickly dodged the sword. Then, he slapped out with his palm, sending the woman flying. However, the woman's body dissipated immediately. She's not a person, but a spiritual aura manifested by sword energy. Lin Feng couldn't help but raise his eyebrows. He continued flying deeper into the mountain range. That's the 7 stars piercing the sun. Lin Feng looked at the 7 mountains in shock. The 7 mountain peaks were like 7 stars. All the starlight gathered together. Then, they surrounded one place. They surrounded and protected the huge ancient tree in the most central position. Starlight constantly fell from the 9 heavens, which was then devoured by the ancient tree. He didn't know what kind of ancient tree it was. However, Lin Feng felt that the ancient tree contained an unimaginable amount of vitality. He was starting to wonder if the ancient tree was the Jinmu tree. However, Lin Feng thought that it shouldn't be a builder tree. He had cultivated a builder tree sapling, and its aura was completely different from this ancient tree. Finally, Lin Feng landed in the mountain range. He saw a huge stone statue. It was a stone statue of a woman. The woman was very beautiful. She was dressed in white, and she looked like a fairy who had fallen from the 9 heavens. Lin Feng was very surprised when he saw the woman. He felt like he had seen her somewhere before. Why does this stone statue give me such a strong sense of familiarity? Lin Feng couldn't help but mutter to himself. He carefully recalled some of the beautiful women he had seen in the past few years. However, after searching through his memories, he couldn't find any. Lin Feng was very puzzled. If it was really a woman he had seen before, it shouldn't be like this. Lin Feng stroked his chin. Right, I remember who this woman is. She's the Empyrean Maiden. She's the Empyrean Maiden. Lin Feng couldn't help but exclaim in surprise. He recalled the woman's identity. This woman was exactly the same as the fairy of the 9th heaven in the portrait he had obtained. After all, the Empyrean fairy was a connate life form, nurtured by heaven and earth. His strength was incomparably powerful. The classic of mountains and seas, the mystical maiden of the 9 heavens, also known as the mystical maiden, is commonly known as the goddess of the 9 heavens, the mystical maiden of the 9 heavens, the mystical maiden of the 9 heavens, and the mystical mother of the 9 heavens. She was originally the goddess of war. Later, she was worshipped by Taoism as a high-level female immortal and the god of divination. She was a god of justice who was well-versed in military strategies and spells. There were scriptures such as the 9 Heavens Maiden's true scripture for curing the heart and eliminating sin that were handed down to enlighten the people. There were very few records about the Empyrean Maiden, so Lin Feng knew very little about her. All he knew was that she was an extraordinarily terrifying existence. Otherwise, she wouldn't be on the same side as Nuwa, Pangu, Fushi, Serene, and the forefathers of the sovereign clans. Of course, Lin Feng didn't know much about the Empyrean Maiden. Everything he knew about the fairy of the 9 heavens came from the classic of mountains and seas. What does it mean for a statue of the Empyrean Maiden to appear here? What does it mean? Lin Feng couldn't help but murmur to himself. He had a feeling that there was more to the statue than met the eye. Could it be that the Empyrean Maiden's inheritance was here? Lin Feng felt his heart race at the thought of this. The Empyrean Maiden was a heavyweight among the Xiantian life forms. Lin Feng wasn't from that era, so he didn't know what her cultivation was like. However, he guessed that she should be around the same level as Pangu, Nuwa, and Serene. Therefore, if he could obtain the Empyrean Maiden's inheritance, it would be too heaven-defying. Lin Feng's consciousness surged out. It enveloped the statue of the Empyrean Maiden. Looking back for 1,000 lifetimes, falling into oblivion for 1,000,000,000,000 lifetimes, and the collapse of all Das will be the day of return. A mysterious voice suddenly rang out in Lin Feng's mind. It was a woman's voice. Lin Feng was stunned. Could that woman's voice be the Empyrean Maiden's? The world spun and Lin Feng found himself in an ancient world. The sound of a zither lingered in the air. Lush green grass. A man shrouded in flames flew over from afar. He was fire god Zhurong, the first fire god, a connate life form born of flames. Mist filled the air in the distance, and a man stood within it. He was Gonggong, the first water god, a connate life form born of rivers. Though they were called gods, they were still immortals. In truth, their cultivation had long since reached the realm of immortals. A man in white robes arrived. He was Serene, one of the first ancestors of the human race. Another man in robes embroidered with the 8 trigrams arrived. He was Fushi, one of the first ancestors of the human race. They belonged to the connate human race. They were the most primitive and ancient of the human race. Not long after, a man with an enormous axe arrived. It was Pangu. Soon, Nuwa arrived as well. Immortal music filled the air as a woman flew over. It was the Empyrean maiden. She was playing her zither. The cultivators who were qualified to come here to listen to the zither were all extraordinary. The sound of the mysterious maiden of the 9 heavens was very beautiful. After the song ended, the 9 heavens maiden was dejected. "Why are you sad, fairy?" asked fire god Zhurong. She shook her head and sighed, but didn't say anything. The scene in front of her suddenly vanished. The 9 heavens maiden arrived at an immortal mountain. A man appeared. When he saw the man, Lin Feng was stunned. Wasn't that the ancestor of the sovereign clan? In the portrait, there was an ancestor with a peace sign, looking very frivolous. "Empyrean maiden, the world is about to change." "I'm leaving," said the ancestor. He was usually carefree, but now he was frowning. "Are you leaving to avoid me?" asked the Empyrean maiden. "Don't overthink it," the old ancestor of the sovereign clan said. The scene in front of her vanished. Lin Feng returned to the real world. Lin Feng was still in a daze. The Empyrean maiden used to admire the ancestor of the sovereign clan, but the ancestor of the sovereign clan didn't have any feelings for her. Lin Feng couldn't help but rub his head. It turned out that even the most powerful existences had feelings for each other. It seemed that no one could sever their 7 emotions and 6 desires. This had nothing to do with strength. It didn't matter. Kikik. So it's the successor of the sovereign clan. Did you come here to die? Bursts of eerie laughter suddenly resounded between heaven and earth. Who is it? Chapter 26:37. Brat, no need to be so nervous. I'm not a threat to you. That voice resounded again. If you're not a threat, then why did you say that I'm here to die? Said Lin Feng coldly. Of course, he didn't believe the mysterious spirit so easily. One had to be wary of others. Lin Feng knew this very well. Sometimes, one had to be careful, or they wouldn't even know how they died. The world of cultivators was full of scheming and scheming. I'm not a threat to you, but the 9 heavens maiden is. That mysterious existence said, I didn't offend the fairy of the 9th heaven, and she doesn't know me. We don't have any interactions, so how could she be a threat to me? Plus, she's been dead for who knows how many years. How could she be a threat to me? Lin Feng couldn't help but smile coldly. Xian V of the 9 heavens has 3 stages in her life. The first stage is pure and kind. In that stage, as you saw before, she fell in love with a man. But as the saying goes, the falling flower is in love with the flowing water, but the flowing water is not. In the second stage, the world fell into turmoil. Various powerful forces sprang up like bamboo shoots after the rain. The 9 heavens maiden was no longer the pure and kind maiden of the 9 heavens. Her ambition began to swell, so she built her own immortals kingdom. You should know that a lot of things had to happen to build such a huge immortals kingdom. Therefore, during this stage, the 9 heavens maiden became very decisive. Her hands were stained with the blood of countless practitioners. She had completely changed. She became a person who was extremely greedy for power and would do anything to achieve her goal. In the third stage, the 9 heavens maiden has already become a paragon. There aren't many people in the world who can stand up to her. She thinks about the past and also about your ancestor. He was the only one who dared to refuse her. At this stage, the 9 heavens maiden is lofty and lofty. She can't tolerate even a speck of sand in her eyes. Your ancestor refused her, and her love for him turned into hatred. Because of that, she hates the sovereign clan. Lin Feng frowned. He hadn't thought that Xin knew of the Nine Skies would have experienced so many things in her life. Many things were incredible. It was even somewhat inconceivable. His hatred for the sovereign race was inexplicable. When it came to matters of the heart, it had always been consensual. Was it necessary to hate others? And then? What happened? Lin Feng asked. The mysterious being continued. At that time, the Nine Heavens Maiden gave the order to search for your ancestor, but she couldn't find him. Later on, there were rumors that a descendant of the sovereign emperor clan had appeared. Obviously, your ancestor had a wife. This made the Nine Heavens Maiden extremely jealous. She began to unite many forces to search for the descendant of the sovereign emperor clan, but in the end, she couldn't find him. It was said that the Nine Heavens Maiden encountered a problem in her cultivation, so she used the Nine Heavens Maiden technique to reincarnate and cultivate again. Ordinary corpse dismemberment techniques can also allow cultivators to reincarnate and cultivate again. In the future, they might be able to recover the memories of their previous life. Then, they'll be able to remember all sorts of powerful spells. It's like cultivating again. Of course, as a peerless cultivator, once they recover the memories of their previous life, they'll be able to cultivate again extremely quickly. Their talent will also be extremely shocking. But it's not easy to recover the memories of one's previous life. Not only is it not easy, but it's also extremely difficult. In the end, the cultivator will die, but they won't be able to recover the memories of their previous life. If they can recover the memories of their previous life, they'll become what we call a reincarnation. The Nine Heavens Maiden's Nine Heavens Maiden technique is a corpse dismemberment technique that can recover the memories of one's previous life. It's extremely terrifying. The mysterious being continued. It's said that the Nine Heavens Maiden's corpse dismemberment technique divides her soul into 9, and she'll be reincarnated into 9 women. Those 9 women each have a part of the Nine Heavens Maiden's memories and a part of her strength. Those women are all peerless beauties. When they meet, they'll fight to the death and steal each other's memories. In the end, only one of the 9 will survive, and that person will recover the Nine Heavens Maiden's memories. She'll be the Nine Heavens Maiden's reincarnation. Lin Feng said, That sounds incredible. Has the Nine Heavens Maiden returned from her reincarnation? The mysterious being said, Who knows? Maybe she succeeded, but it's been too long since then. Lin Feng rolled his eyes and said, You've said so much, but it doesn't seem to have anything to do with the fact that I'm here to die. The mysterious being said, Of course it has something to do with it. Do you see that ancient tree? It's said that the Nine Heavens Maiden personally planted that ancient tree. It already has the Nine Heavens Maiden's imprint. The ancient tree has a spirit. When it senses your arrival, it'll definitely try its best to kill you. Rumble. As soon as the mysterious being finished speaking, the earth began to shake violently. Lin Feng looked into the distance and saw that the ancient tree had begun to sway. Every time it swayed, it was as if the earth was shaking. Do you see that? The ancient tree is recovering. It's too late for you to leave now. You're dead. That mysterious existence said as though he was gloating over Lin Fan's misfortune. People from the sovereign imperial clan? People from the sovereign imperial clan are here. Back then, Her Highness the Empress prophesied that people from the sovereign imperial clan would come here in the future. The Empress' prophecy came true. A deep voice resounded between heaven and earth. The thick branches twisted in the void like tentacles. Lin Feng frowned. He could feel a cold, killing intent from the ancient tree. It was just as the mysterious existence had said. This ancient tree wanted to kill him. Boom! A thick branch whipped towards Lin Feng. That branch was like a mountain range as it lashed out viciously. Even the void was shattered. The power of that attack was simply too terrifying. It was so powerful that it made Lin Feng's heart palpitate. Lin Feng quickly dodged the terrifying attack. Pa pa pa, but just then, the branches began to dance one after another. It was as though mountains were crashing down one after another. Naturally, it was impossible for Lin Fan to dodge all of them. Lin Feng channeled the arm of the dragon elephant and slammed it towards the incoming branches. Bam! That tyrannical blow landed on the mountain-like branch. Chapter 26:38. What terrifying power! Lin Feng's face was filled with shock. The power contained within the ancient tree was too terrifying. Even his Dracophant arm was unable to contend against it. He really didn't know how terrifyingly powerful that ancient tree was. Rumble. One branch after another lashed out at him. The attacks could be said to be continuous and uninterrupted. Lin Feng was sent flying several times, and his face turned pale. This couldn't go on. Fire restrains wood. I wonder if heavenly fire can restrain this ancient tree? Lin Feng thought of an idea. This ancient tree was extraordinary. Lin Feng wasn't sure if heavenly fire could harm it. He hurriedly brought out his heavenly fire. The flames burned fiercely, instantly enveloping the ancient tree's branches. However, Lin Feng was shocked to see a faint green energy surging out of the ancient tree. He didn't know what kind of energy it was. After being enveloped by the faint green energy, the ancient tree was actually able to resist the heavenly fire. When Lin Feng saw that, he didn't find it strange at all, because the tree was too strong. Such a powerful ancient tree would definitely find a way to cultivate some special method to resolve its weakness. Therefore, Lin Feng had already predicted that the ancient tree would have some method to resist his heavenly fire. Rumble. The ancient tree's branches, which were as thick as mountains, continued to smash at Lin Feng. Lin Feng was in a very sorry state as he resisted the attacks of the branches. At the same time, he began to activate another powerful secret art, the Great Curse Art. This technique was very special. Lin Feng felt that he could use the power of curses to harm the ancient tree. The ancient tree's defense was too strong. Ordinary methods couldn't harm the ancient tree. Only a divine ability like the Great Curse Art would be able to harm the ancient tree. Lin Feng tried more than 10 times, but he didn't succeed. The probability of successfully activating the Great Curse Art was never very high. Lin Feng was sent flying, and he coughed up a mouthful of blood. The thick branches lashed out again, trying to kill Lin Feng. At this moment, Lin Feng finally succeeded in activating the Great Curse Art. A spluttering sound was heard. A large part of the ancient tree's trunk exploded. The explosion covered an area of 5 to 6 meters. Of course, such an area couldn't do much damage to the ancient tree. However, it broke through the ancient tree's defense. Heavenly fire quickly surged forward, igniting the exposed branches. Whoosh! At this moment, the ancient tree's branches wrapped around Lin Feng. They wanted to strangle Lin Feng. However, this wasn't an easy thing to do. Lin Feng sneered and said, "Before you kill me, I can use at least 7 or 8 moves. Even if you've lived for countless years, your body will be destroyed. This space is so mysterious. Who knows how many terrifying creatures live here? Once you're seriously injured, I think there will be many creatures who want to kill you and take your source. Is this the result you want to see?" After the ancient tree heard this, it didn't let go of Lin Feng. Instead, it used more strength. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. While resisting the branch's damage to his body, he used the burning wrath of the heaven's divine ability to fuse the 4 heavenly fire together. Bang! The 4 heavenly fire exploded. Large parts of the ancient tree's branches were blown apart. However, the ancient tree was too thick. This kind of injury couldn't cause fatal damage to the ancient tree. At this moment, Lin Feng felt that it was getting harder and harder for him to struggle. The ancient tree's power was too terrifying. He couldn't hold on for too long. Thus, Lin Feng said coldly, "Since you want to die, let's see who dies first. As long as my soul isn't destroyed, I can return to my body and be reborn. You're different. If your body is destroyed, all your years of cultivation will be for naught." The ancient tree struggled internally for a while. Finally, the branches around Lin Feng began to loosen. The ancient tree wanted to help the Empyrean fairy kill Lin Feng, a descendant of the sovereign emperor clan. However, it didn't have the ability to do so. After the ancient tree released Lin Feng summoned the heavenly fire back. Then, the ancient tree stopped moving. Everything that had just happened seemed like a dream. "Kid, you're quite strong. You actually have 4 heavenly fire. The mysterious voice spoke again. Lin Feng said coldly, "What? Still not going to show yourself? Do you think I don't know who you are? Of the 7 mountains, one of them should have gained sentience, right? If you don't show yourself obediently, I'll destroy the 7 mountains." Impulsiveness is the devil. The voice of the mysterious being had a trace of panic. The 5th mountain suddenly had eyes, a mouth, a nose, and eyebrows. It looked very similar to a human's face. It really turned into a mountain monster. Lin Feng's expression was indifferent. What mountain monster? It's clearly a mountain god, all right? No, it's a mountain immortal. The mysterious being said loudly, refuting Lin Feng's words. However, no matter how one looked at it, it didn't seem very confident. Previously, it was pretending to be mysterious. Now that Lin Feng had seen through it, its true form was revealed. With its cultivation, it naturally couldn't contend against Lin Feng. What secret is this place hiding? Lin Feng asked directly. This ancient tree is extraordinary. It bears many holy fruits. Many powerful beings have entered and plucked the holy fruits. Now, there should be one holy fruit left. You can pluck it. The mountain monster said. Will the ancient tree agree? Lin Feng asked. If your strength is recognized by it, it will agree. Anyway, the fruits will be destroyed if you don't consume them. However, if your strength isn't recognized by it, it naturally won't agree. Instead, it will kill those who are not strong enough and want to covet the holy fruit. The mountain monster said. Lin Feng nodded and flew towards the main trunk of the ancient tree. The ancient tree had just submitted to him. This meant that the ancient tree had recognized his strength. Naturally, he could pluck the holy fruits. This ancient tree was planted by Xianin V of the 9th heaven. Although Lin Feng didn't know its species, for it to be able to survive until now, it must be extraordinary. Perhaps, it might even be an immortal tree. The holy fruits it bore would definitely have great effects. Perhaps, the holy fruits could help him break through again? Thinking of this, Lin Feng couldn't help but feel excited. Just as Lin Feng was about to pluck the holy fruits. Suddenly, several figures flew in from outside. Seeing people enter, the mountain monster hurriedly transformed into a mountain, completely concealing itself. There were a total of 10 cultivators flying in. There were both males and females. None of them were ordinary people. There's actually someone here. Exclamations could be heard. The 10 cultivators all landed. Chapter 26:39. While these people were sizing up Lin Feng was sizing them up as well. Although they didn't deliberately show off their strength, Lin Feng was still able to sense them. Even so, Lin Feng could still sense a powerful aura from them. That aura. What surprised Lin Feng was that these people were very strong. Lin Feng had a feeling that they weren't any weaker than the heaven-defying geniuses of the myriad races. Therefore, Lin Feng couldn't help but be curious. Which world were these people from? How could their cultivation be so strong? Of course, this thought only flashed through his mind. Lin Feng ignored them and quickly flew towards the ancient tree. Lin Feng had already seen the sacred fruit on the tree. He quickly plucked the sacred fruit. Then, he put it away. That fruit is very ordinary. The group of people was shocked. They were all very knowledgeable and could tell at a glance how extraordinary the sacred fruit Lin Feng had plucked was. Seeing Lin Feng about to leave, a young man in blue stopped Lin Feng. What is the meaning of this? Lin Feng asked indifferently. I want that fruit. Hand it over. The blue-robed cultivator said. The blue-robed cultivator was very handsome and his figure was also very slender. He was truly an elegant and beautiful man. He looked at Lin Feng indifferently and spoke in an unquestionable tone. Lin Feng sneered. You want me to give it to you, so I have to give it to you? Who do you think you are? Kid, don't you know how to appreciate favors? The young man in blue's face suddenly darkened. In this space, killing people for treasures is a common thing. I only want your sacred fruit and not your life. That's already a blessing from your ancestors. If you're so shameless, I don't mind taking your dog life right here and now. The young man in blue said as he flicked his sleeves. He spoke casually and looked at Lin Feng with contempt. Obviously, He didn't care about Lin Feng at all. Perhaps, in his eyes, Lin Feng was just a nobody. You? Lin Feng couldn't help but sneer. With disdain. The young man in blue's eyes suddenly flashed with a cold, killing intent. At that moment, a woman in purple said, "Just take the treasure. There's no need to kill him." "Sister Sewer, this kid disrespected me. He must be killed," the young man in blue said. The woman called Sewer nodded and didn't say anything else. The young man in blue sneered and looked at Lin Feng. "Kid, have you thought about how you're going to die?" When he finished talking, he walked towards Lin Feng step by step. His chi was becoming more and more powerful. Obviously, he was gathering his magic power to attack. "Do you really think you're someone?" Lin Feng pursed his lips. The young man in blue's face suddenly became extremely gloomy. In his opinion, Lin Feng didn't know what was good for him. Moreover, Lin Feng refuted him repeatedly, which made the young man in blue feel embarrassed. He looked coldly at Lin Feng. "You don't know what's good for you. Don't worry, I won't kill you directly. I'll make you kneel on the ground and take the initiative to hand over the treasure." As soon as he finished speaking, the young man in blue threw a punch at Lin Feng. This punch caused the void to crack. The young man in blue was really powerful. He was definitely an extremely terrifying existence. However, facing the punch from the young man in blue, Lin Feng wasn't afraid at all. He also threw a punch. Hundreds of millions of years passed. Bang! Lin Feng and the young man in blue punched each other, which was accompanied by a dull collision sound. Lin Feng and the young man in blue retreated continuously. Each of them took 3 steps back. Lin Feng was shocked. This person was so powerful. It was rare for a young cultivator to be able to fight him head-on and be on par with him. This space was indeed a space where the top geniuses from all over the world gathered. Oomph! The young man in blue couldn't help but snort coldly. His eyes became extremely cold. He took a step forward, wanting to attack Lin Feng again. However, at this time, the surrounding young masters and young ladies all looked at the young man in blue in shock. "Brother Zhao, you. A young master pointed at the young man in blue and said in a shocked tone, "What's wrong with me?" The young man in blue asked curiously. However, he soon felt that something was wrong. This was because he felt the magic power in his body rapidly depleting. The young man in blue looked at his body and found that his skin was rapidly drying up. Not long later, his body became old and frail. What kind of technique is this? The young masters and young ladies were extremely shocked. It made a person age in an instant. This technique was really mysterious and unfathomable. Why is this happening? The young man in blue couldn't help but roar angrily. He was an extremely handsome man and had always been very careful about his image. Now, he had suddenly become an extremely old man. The young man in blue couldn't accept this fact. His eyes became blood red. He looked at Lin Feng with a murderous gaze. "I'll kill you," the young man in blue roared. Then, he pounced at Lin Feng. Boom! His body emitted an extremely powerful aura. Then, the young man in blue attacked Lin Feng with a palm strike. The shadow of 9 huge dragons appeared on his palm. This divine ability was called 9 Dragon Palms. Condensing 9 true dragons with boundless magic power, it could destroy heaven and earth. With your half-dead appearance, half of your body is about to be buried in the ground, and you still dare to fight with me? You really don't know what's good for you, said Lin Feng, smiling icily. He used a celestial skill, bestial chaos, and bombarded the prince in blue clothes. Bang! The 2 sides collided, accompanied by a dull sound of collision. Everyone saw that the young man in blue was directly sent flying. Wah! Then, the young man in blue couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. His face became as pale as paper. Before he landed on the ground, Lin Feng had already arrived beside the young man in blue and swept a punch over. This tyrannical punch swept across the young man in blue. It directly smashed the young man in blue to the ground. Then, Lin Feng stepped on the chest of the young man in blue. Impossible! The young man in blue couldn't accept what had happened. He kept struggling. Lin Feng suddenly exerted force. Crack, crack. The bones in the young man's chest were broken by Lin Feng, You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.